Hello? Hello? Can you yeah, muted. Part 1. Alright, testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me from this distance? Just about. I should probably be loud. Okay, it's the 16th of April, 2018. I am in my car, in my white VW Up. It's just gone 2 o'clock, and I'm going to be driving from Redbourne, my house in Redbourne, to Plymouth, where I live in term time. I do this drive every few weeks, and I'm going to be talking the whole way. It will take around 6 hours. I won't be talking when I'm taking breaks at service stations. I'll only be talking when I'm inside the car and when the engine is running. I hope that it doesn't stop recording, and I hope that it hears me over the sound of my car. I'm leaving now, just reversing out of my drive. My aim here, I guess, is to pay closer attention to all the details of the drive that I don't normally think about. To think more carefully about how long it takes, how much thought and time spent thinking I can fit into this journey, and to create a 6-hour-long stream of consciousness. I guess these roads, I'm driving right just outside my house. I've driven hundreds and hundreds of times. It's a very suburban area, lots of houses and cars. There was a woman just walking a big dog. I don't know what kind of dog that was. The route I'm taking, I'm getting on the M1 and going towards the M25, and then after that, I will take the M4. I think another part of this project is that I'm not using my phone for sat-nav, which I guess I do rely on, and even though I think I know the way. And so I guess this is also a test of memory and a test of focus, because I'll be both driving carefully, of course, and talking constantly and thinking of things to say. I'll try and describe my feelings and everything I see and the route and things it reminds me of. And I'll try and make this somewhat literary, I suppose, but I don't know how easy that will be. Kind of improvising detailed and literary descriptions of things. The weather today is overcast, I would say. The clouds are mostly one color, but there are highlights and shadows where the edges round off into each other, and there is no sign of the sky at all. It's not dark though, it's still sunny, and it doesn't look as though it will rain, but it often does on this trip at certain points. But that could happen. Although it's been a couple of months into spring, the trees around are mostly still leafless, or they are budding. The colors are mostly browns and oranges, but there are specks of green here and there. The grass has got a kind of brown, sticky look to it, almost scratchy. I'm thinking of when Bob Ross makes sticks and things in brushes and scrapes away the paint. That's it, feels the surroundings around here. One of the road signs just then was covered in moss and mildew and was kind of, although white, was becoming green as well. Everything is blurring into these desaturated, pastel-y colors, apart from a bush that just there actually that has red leaves on it. I don't know if they're real or not, if that bush is outside of a newly developing housing estate, and so it's possible that it's fake. That's weird, isn't it? That's weird to think that that's even a thing that happens. I'm just noticing as well, there are flags up by the side of this field. I think it's the Hertfordshire Showground. There are flags, and they are white and blue striped, wavy striped, with a little yellow shield and a sitting down deer in it. I don't know what this is. It must be the flag of Hertfordshire. I didn't know. Are flags still important? Were flags? I guess flags were made when we were made for the purpose of identifying ships and what country's ships belong to you, or you would hold a flag during battle. So I don't know if it must just be tradition for now. Well, suppose you use flags for sporting events and things like that. Don't you flags have a lot of different purposes? Okay, I'm coming around onto the M1 now. It's quite busy already, and there's lots of lorries around in the left lane, so it might be difficult to come out. But it looks as though there's an opening. I have to wait for this lorry here. Okay, I've come on all motorways. I feel like look the same, and so the descriptions are going to be quite similar, I think, from now. There's grassy banks and little leafless small trees from halfway to the top of the banks. And on the left side, there are pylons with connecting wires and a fence. There are low metal fences to my left and concrete barricades to the right. And lampposts in the center. The lorry in front is big and maroon with a white stripe across it. Says Downton Deliveries. Why does it say Downton Deliveries? Wouldn't it be, oh, Downton Delivers? Wouldn't it be deliveries or movers? I don't know. I've moved into the second lane and I've overtaken the lorry, and behind me there is a coach. What looks like a taxi, a private taxi, just overtook me. Coming up on my left, there is a green Eddie Stobart van lorry, and on the right there is a minivan, one of those kind of suburban minivans for like shipping a load of kids around. There's a pylon to the left that's connecting over the road, connecting down to the right. And on my right, slowly, there's a silver car with a woman and what looks like her husband in it. She's driving and he looks kind of relaxed, and they've gone past now. There's an orange SOS on one of those phone symbol, not phone, emergency phone signs, I guess to show where to go. Okay, so the coach is overtaking me now. It's going towards Heathrow Airport, and I've just gone over one of those little lines that show you there's a speed camera in use, but I'm only going 60 though, so I should be fine. I'm just passing another truck. It's got a kind of vintage look to it. It says established 1960 on it, so I guess that's what they're going for. Quite kind of colorful design. Okay, so the hill on the left has subsided now and lowered, and it's a flat plane, It goes into a wooden fence, and behind that there's a newly ploughed field, but not that new. The ground has dried in the sun and lightened in color. Now the fields are grass, and now they're ploughed again. And this field looks like it has some kind of hay or straw on it, perhaps some kind of fertile ground. Or maybe they'll be having pigs or something on it. I know that they do around here now. Okay, the surroundings are dropping down, and I can see a bit further on. And there's pylons going off into the distance. Left and right, not laid out straight, curving round. Some area they're going across fields, and on my right in the distance, I can see a large cream-colored building with big windows and some, more industrial buildings, warehouse and water containment, maybe purifying units. It's weird how quickly, it's interesting, I should say, it's gone from suburban environment with houses, residential, to farmland and industrial areas, like almost instantly. On this road, we're transferred into this new situation. And I always think about this when I'm driving motorways. There must be so much land, just like everywhere, because we're just cutting through this space in essentially what is one of the quickest ways possible. And there's stuff everywhere. There's stuff everywhere, and things that you don't normally see or think about or consider. And they all exist outside of the areas you normally live. I don't know if there's okay, so I'm realizing I'm going quite slow, and I should probably speed up a bit because I don't want to take forever. But I don't know, it is very busy on this road today. There's a lorry, Sports Direct to my left, and in front a waste management van, and a sign that says do not undertake. And I thought that said do not overtake to start with, but I am overtaking it now. I'm really worried already that I'm not going to find enough things to talk about. And I think that this is happening already. And I'm scared because it's only been about 5 minutes or something, probably. And I've got to keep going until for like 6 hours. There's some close-up pylons on the left here, and a wood, and a small cottage. And I'm just thinking again, like, what is that place? Where is that? Where am I? I feel like I'm nowhere on this road, but someone lives right next to it. Someone must be hearing it constantly, hearing this road. Okay, I'm coming onto the M25 now, so I better get left. I left that a bit late, not concentrating as much as I should be. So I'm coming off onto the M25 and staying right so that I get onto the M4. The tree line, the little trees, I guess you could call them shrubs. I never use the word shrub because it feels almost fantasy, but these ones have got more leaves on, a nice light green, and some pale, pale whites and pale yellows and pale greens, maybe blossom, but the trees, the larger trees, have no leaves. And you can see each branch clearly, crisply defined, like splitting and separating, like little fractals, getting so small that I can't see them. And now coming down, curving round onto this connecting road, I'm going underneath 2 overpass roads. They feel colossal, and I feel very small. And I feel this in my little car. I feel so small compared to the bigger vehicles and compared to these giant structures. And there's something so strange and dystopian to me about big concrete overpasses like that. They feel like something that doesn't exist apart from in like Disneyland and weird areas of abandoned cities. And oh, there's a deep orange rusty barrier on the side of the M25 now that I'm on, holding the side banks up and away from the road, and everything. The road appears, everything is weathered and old. The paint feels the paint on the road markings and lines feel new, but all of the structures themselves, the infrastructure, feels ancient. And the concrete is old and speckly and dirty, and the rain has permanent lines running down the side, even the traffic cones that have just appeared on the left. I don't know what they're for. They look old as well. They're faded, the reflective tape has been torn, and they're filthy on the bottom, and the side is rusting, and the pedestrian bridge over the top now feels old as well. You would feel safe going across it because concrete is so sturdy, but it looks old, and I'm thinking about it, and they must have, I don't know when all these roads were made, because it's quite a big deal when a new road was made, and things like the M25 must have been around for ages. And when did they decide to name these roads? And because obviously I was on the M1, was that the first road they made? Is the M25 the 25th? I don't know. I should look that up when I get home. I guess I'm going 70 now. I'm noticing that my petrol is down to about a third, and so I think regrettably I'm going to have to stop at a station sooner or later when I get onto the M4. I mean, there aren't any on the M25 on this stretch at least. I don't know how far away the M4 is. It is being shown up on signs, so I guess it's not that far. I think it's before Heathrow. I used to drive to Heathrow when I picked up and dropped off. So there's I guess a painful-ish memory associated with this drive that feels familiar. To my left now, there's a car that must have been broken down on a tow truck. It's one of those old Vauxhalls. It's blue, and I like the look of those cars but they're not vintage in a kind of well-made vintage car way. So I worry about driving one. Sent me a link to a Gumtree listing of a car for £1, and I don't think it was in working condition. So that's weird. It's crazy how the prices of things fluctuate and change so much depending on where you're looking and what it is, and the age and quality, and nothing feels consistent. Everything feels changing and uncertain. I'm not sure what to call them, the big structures with the signs on them go over all the way across the road. There's no attempt to, there's no attempt to hide what it is. It's a very simple, minimalist scaffolding kind of look to it. The bollards on the side, they're quite minimalist as well. And it's all completely about the function of these things. It's not about and the fences. There's nothing, they're not trying to kid you about what they are and make them look nicer and more cleaner. It's just about function. Even the road signs know how they're such bright blue that actually, I guess, they're color coded as well, aren't they? Because the red signs are for new changing conditions or new, and the blue ones are direction signs showing you where you are. But then also that blue sign said authorized vehicles only, which is a command. So I'm not sure. There's another kind of pylon-looking tower to the right, which I guess is it's not a pylon because it's not connected to anything else. It looks quite like the BT tower. I've gone past it now. I'm going down a hill, and the bank on the left is steeper and thicker with like bracken, and on the right, it's not as steep, and I can see I can see ahead trees, evergreen trees that stand out from the trees that have lost their leaves. I'm still seeing signs for the M4, so I don't have to come off yet. I saw just then, unique from the other lampposts, a lamppost with a longer stick at the top, and a bird was sitting on that. There's a highway maintenance truck on my left now that I'm just passing. All of the cars at the moment that I can see are greys, muted grey blues, whites, slate greys. That's silver. A bright red one just passed now. Obviously my car is white. There's some black cars, but they're not deep black. They're black in a grey way. The car just passed has a temporary red and white number plate stuck over its existing one. And I wonder why. I don't know what that means. Everything feels grey. There's a quality to the light where it feels as though there's no light source and the clouds have diffused everything and patches of light are coming through but muffled and lighting everything in a kind of bleak, melancholic, like almost Siebold-esque tone, and it feels like it could rain. There's a green lorry with a green trailer, but it's absolutely filthy from exhaust fumes. It looks like, and really faded to a kind of black color. The lorry that I just passed has a shipping container on the back, and not a traditional lorry trailer. I haven't seen that before, or maybe I have, but I haven't noticed it. The rusting bank on the side now has small stones and pebbles beneath it, and some of the bushes have yellow flowers. The bank is definitely man-made here. There's a big black netted astroturf, perhaps materials, seeping into the sides. There's some roadwork signs I'm just passing now, perhaps. Perhaps there will be a section where I have to drive slower, where I have to go through cones. The fields now are dropping away and they're dropping away and they're deeper and they feel rolling and smooth, and someone must have broken down just then. A van was pulled over and the hazard lights were flashing and someone was standing up on the bank, perhaps looking for phone reception. There's more pylons and more bridges crossing over, and I'm wondering where these bridges go from or to, because again, it feels like I'm in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't feel like there's a purple pipe across the middle barrier, and there's two diggers and a temporary fence, and lots of cones, and what looks like a bigger building work that I can't see behind some trees maybe. Maybe they're building a new connecting road. Okay, the sign's telling me now I'm entering Buckinghamshire. There's just there was what looked like a clothesline with clothes pegs, maybe 3 or 4 stretches of wire long. I wonder what that is. I don't know if it seems strange. If that seems strange, that tree is beautiful. Whoa. There's a sign to my right that has sandbags holding it down, I guess for wind and rain. There's no fields to the left anymore. It's just bushes and trees again. Brown, leafless, pale cream, blossom and budding leaves, small yellow flowers and empty trees, graceful and sharp, I would call them, splitting apart again. You can see all of the connecting lines. They look like veins or capillaries, or the blood vessels in the lungs. I guess that's what they're called, to make a metaphor out of it. They are lungs for Earth on motorway. You do feel very aware of the emissions that you're making by, my petrol has gone down to a quarter now. I really will have to find a stop soon. As soon as there's a petrol station, I think I'll go for it. I will also like a coffee, so I will wait for that. The road coming off now is the M40, not the M4. So I'm going to wait. I'm just passing the big arching brick bridge. It looks so old. There's ivy growing up it. over it. That's the one that says "Give peas a chance" on it. And I always wonder how they managed to get that. There's a big power station to the left. It looks amazing. All these wires and sci-fi looking contraptions and metal rods and poles and shapes. And there's some houses now, but also like, I guess a fire station. There's one of those fire station practice towers. Those empty brick towers that they set on fire and time themselves climbing up. I've never seen that before. There were just some electricity wires crossing over them, and again now, but I can't see what they're connecting to. Oh, I can see now. There's more pylons. I can see a plane taking off in the distance above what I guess is Heathrow. Big, giant white cube buildings look like giant shipping containers, big warehouse type buildings. A very fast car just overtook on the right. I'm going 73, so there's no real need. Coming up behind me is a car, a blue car. I just went under a tunnel that has bright white lights. It must be quite new because it's got that new design that new car lights have that are quite intimidating. I find it's overtaking me now. Let me see if I can get a look at who is driving it. Yeah, it was a kind of pompous looking business boy. It's not that, not that new a car, 2015, but it has that scary look. There's a dirty Jeep that I'm coming up past with a tire on the back. And that makes me laugh because when are you ever going to replace a tire, really? On the right, the traffic is a lot thicker. I saw that a big car container was pulled over on the side, so perhaps there was an issue. I didn't notice it though, but really hope that I don't miss my turn. Quite far, I'm in the third lane, so it'll take me a while to move over. I might move into the second lane now, just in case. Yeah, I have done that now. The left lane is full. Oh, and a lorry is just coming out in front of me. That's annoying. I'm going to have to slow right down. I think that's sensible though, because I think I might be coming up to the exit. There was there was a stone wall made from stones. I'm not sure what kind of stones, possibly flint or limestone, contained within like a chicken wire mesh type thing. Those blocks, kind of like the ones they have down by the sea to prevent erosion, prevent the high tides from wearing away the banks and the cliffs and the sand. And there's some fields on the left divided by big tall tree lines, and there's just some pylons and little telegraph poles there that are kind of almost diagonal in a really beautiful, like rustic kind of way. On the left, I'm seeing there's either lake or solar panel farm. I think that is so hard to tell the difference between water and solar panels when you're passing by. They both have the same reflective, but not fully reflection, glass-like quality, making the sky more pervasive. I really don't know whatever it was, it's not on the side anymore, so I still don't know. The lorry in front of me is going out further into the right, really, really going for it. I don't think that's the most sensible thing, but you've got to be sympathetic because, you know, lorry drivers live deadlines constantly, and so I do understand that. I'd really like to get that game Euro Truck Simulator. I'd like to have something reliably meditative to do during times of stress that I don't have at the moment. I decided not to bring Xbox back to Plymouth with me because I don't want to distract myself from all my work coming up. Coming up on the left, I believe, is like, okay, there's a lentil advert, I think. It's a vehicle sales area. They're selling orange, like cherry pickers and diggers. Oh, actually, maybe it's a building site. There's lots of big containers and ladders and windows. And what is this place? And there's the big old 80s looking building with a concrete front and brick sides and windows. I just don't know what. There's a sign saying for Kew Gardens. And I would absolutely love to go to Kew Gardens one time, I really think. And yeah, coming off onto the M4 now, I'm going towards the west, towards Slough. And I'm not talking right now. I'm trying to concentrate, but I know I have to keep it up. I really want this to be a long piece. because this is going to be so difficult. I'm nowhere near fucking I'm not close to finishing at all. Okay, there's a giant Royal Mail van on my right, and I'm coming off right now, and I'm staying right, and I'm going down another one of these kind of windy spiral off roads, taking me down to the new road, max speed 40, it says on that sign. There's a small little post with a security camera coming out of it. It looks almost like an animal poking out of the ground. Where is the building that is watching all the footage from all the cameras all around the motorways? Where is that building? Would it be in London? Would they have multiple ones for each road or the different locations? I'm coming up to the connect onto the M4 now. There's a big, I don't know what that is, field, white field. There's a white field to my left. Is that frost, a type of fertilizer? It's not water, but it's completely white. You can see patches of brown soil, but it was all white on the surface. On my road now, there's a megabus. I can't see anyone on it. It's too high up and too close to me. And I also can't see where it's going. It's going towards Gloucester, it says. I'm going to try and undertake just because I don't want to be stuck by it for the whole way. Yeah, I have done, and it's pulled in behind me. That's good. The distance towards the right, there are big, what look like residential apartment block buildings with windows, I think. It's an apartment block. It looks quite similar to where I lived in Southampton because office blocks have different kinds of looks to them. But it could be offices. It feels almost like an alien world right now. But maybe it is. I think that it is offices. There's big, very modern looking giant glass offices here. I don't know. Oh, they must be apartments. They've got curtains and stickers on the windows. Who lives here? Do they work at DHL? That was a DHL office. No. There's a Marriott hotel. Where am I? I don't know. I must be near London. This must be an area where, I don't know. The fence coming up on the left is dark green. I'm not going to pull into the left. I think there are cars wanting to come across, and the trees on the left have wooden fences around their bases, and it makes it look almost like a park, and the grass looks really well kept. And on the left as well, and there's a pedestrian footbridge. Although it feels at once like the middle of nowhere, it also feels like there could be people near here that use this place as a park. I'm just passing through some smoke now. I always find that smoke on motorways smells like smoky bacon crisps, and sometimes my car makes that smell. And I used to get paranoid that there was maybe like a dead animal stuck in my engine burning, and that was what the smell was. But I don't think that is what that is. I think it's just perhaps engine coolant, or I don't know. I'm about 20 miles away from Reading, it says on that sign, so I think I'm actually making okay time. I don't think that sign had services on it though. I'm still at a quarter on my petrol tank, but I am still nervous about that. The cars all around me right now are quite big 4x4s. There's a Jeep, there's a Mitsubishi, there's a van in front, there's a big Toyota on the right, there's a BMW on the left, and quite a smart looking sports type car. I can't tell what that is. Is that a Mitsubishi as well? I think, no, that's a Mercedes, and in front of that there's a lorry, and I feel quite outclassed by these other cars in my little oh, there are horses up on the left. There's some horses, and that's a strange thing. There's always animals in fields by motorways, but there's never any farmhouses. So are they semi-wild? Do the farmers come and look at them, check up on them occasionally, and leave them alone for most of the time? I don't know. I guess you don't really think about how many farms there are. Still, what do people keep horses for? Maybe people are riding around here. I don't know what to say. I'm running out of things to talk about. I don't know why I'm decided to do this. This is such a fucking stupid idea. It's just gonna be, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna commit to it and finish it, and I'm gonna be exhausted and in a terrible mood. I'm not looking forward to getting back anyway. Driving this long distance is really shit and long and annoying, and I'm making it more difficult for myself. And then I'm gonna it's not gonna have recorded, which will be the worst thing that could happen, or it won't transfer. Those horses are just wild without a fence next to the road. That was really unsafe. And there's a cone on top of a pole. And then I'm going to print it out, and no, I bet it's not even going to get picked up by the dictation thing, and I'll have to go through it by hand. And that'll take me absolutely ages, and I'll be exhausted and in a terrible mood, and it'll take weeks. And I won't finish it in time, or I'll get all of the text ready, put it through the dictation thing, and get all the text, and it'll be shit and boring, and it is shit and boring, and I'm boring myself. I'm not making there's nothing interesting about this. I don't know what I'm doing. And at the same time, even though all of this is emotionally raw, I'm aware that I'm being recorded right now. And that I'm in some ways hamming it up and making it more dramatic for the recording. So I'm like, am I deliberately having this outburst so early on to make it more interesting? I think I'm doing it to convince myself, but it is also what I'm feeling. There's not much to describe. There's a plastic bag in that tree just there, and I can't remember what it was that, oh wait, car's going too fast, I can't get in. What was it that was saying about plastic bags in trees? They do look like ghosts. No, that's from Night in the Woods. Plastic bags are ghosts of supermarkets haunting everywhere else. I think that's so nice. There's a really massive pile of rubble to the left there, and some vans all parked up next to each other, but parked up in a way in which they can't leave. Like they're all blocking each other in. So I don't know what's going on there. There's so many fields. So much building work. So many pylons, so many lampposts, so many fences, so many little boxes of, oh, I just passed a river, and there were some reeds, and so many little boxes of power, like power boxes. What do they even power? I guess they are power centers for the lights. I don't know. There was a bit of tape there, some of that red and white caution tape just tied onto a tree, like flapping in the wind. What's that for? I don't know what to talk about. There's another river, there's canal boats on it. That's really nice, actually. I really want to break already. I don't know how long I've been going for. I hope it's still recording. I can't check. I don't want to crash. There was graffiti just there on... Oh, there was graffiti just there on the side of a large pole. And again, we're in the middle of nowhere. I don't know how the people got to that pole to do that. The trees are quite thick and have ivy growing all over them. And it's all dark green. And there's a lake on the right and more trees on the left. And they're very thick and dirty trucks and small shiny cars and black fences with ivy coming down the sides and rubbish thrown to the side. It all looks the same color. And all the rubbish doesn't look like anything that used to be a thing. It's all dusty, dirty, faded, white, yellow, blue, grey. Everything here has been faded by the sun. And I'm a bit hot, but I don't know why. I've got the temperature turned down quite cool, but I feel quite sweaty. When I get to a services, I'll take my jumper off, I think. I guess I could describe the car a bit. Inside of my car is very dirty. There's a lot of rubbish that's fallen down the left side, the left seat, and slid out underneath beneath it and gone into the back. There are 2 water bottles down by my feet. One of them is they're both half full, and one of them is really old, and it's got mud all over the bottom of a bit of it. I have my air conditioning turned down all the way to cold, but not on very strong, so that hopefully my phone is still picking up my voice. There's a pack of tissues. That's a fair play to me. That's quite a good idea. I have my iPod and my cup holder, and beneath it is a receipt and a really melted Kit Kat. There's little specks of Pringles and mud and dirt. My phone is on the left seat next to my glasses case, and my wallet on my right knee because my car is quite small. My key dangles onto my right knee. It's got a Lego man dressed in a hot dog costume and an Animal Crossing character. And I'm playing with it a little bit with my knee, like knocking it back and forth. I have plugged into the cigarette lighter a little cactus thing that splits into multiple USB ports, and I'm charging my phone. and my phone is plugged. No, it's not plugged in. I have a white aux cord that's just hanging down into the pit in the compartment inside door to my right. I have my house keys. I have my keys for my flat in Plymouth. Both of them have keys that I don't know where they're from, where I've found them on the floor, even dating back a few years, because I always feels like a missing key is weird and scary, and I wouldn't want one of my keys, if I lost it, to just be hanging around on the floor. I would want someone to have it because they'll never know what it unlocks, but maybe one day they will find what it unlocks, and that'll be an amazing occasion for them. The trees on both sides of the road now are getting much thicker, like dense forest, and I'm looking into them, and the layers of depth and the planes are really distinct, and you get, wow, I think there was like a little tent just set up in the forest there. I think someone was maybe camping. I don't know. I'm reminded of the final shot in Andrei Tarkovsky's Mirror, which I watched like a few days ago, where the parallaxing trees block out the movement of the grandma and her kids. It was like nature blocking out memory or something. I don't know. There's lots of leafless sticks and logs and stuff on the side bank there, and the car behind me is getting a bit antsy. I think they're going a lot faster than me, and they're frustrated they can't overtake. They're coming around the side now. There was a very neat man-made looking river just there, river bend meander, and the lorry I'm just passing is a really beautiful shade of purple, faded muddy purple with a cleaner cab, cleaner white cab. There's a lot more rubbish down the side now, and those little plastic tubes that grow baby trees in saplings, I guess, is the technical term, baby tree. I'm thinking more and more that the background noise is going to make it impossible for the dictation software to do this for me, and I'll have to do it myself. And that is really intimidating and scary to me, but I guess it'll take, I would say, double the time this journey takes. So multiple sittings, 12 hours at, oh my God, fucking hell. Well, I guess I don't know. Do we have less stuff at college now? I think we might do. I don't think we have live drawing on Tuesday anymore. So, okay, there are signs. There's a sign here saying for the Oracle, leave at junction 11. And the Oracle is capitalized. What the fuck is the Oracle, and why does that feel like some kind of fantasy sign? And I'm like on a quest where it's like you're looking for the Oracle, go this way. I think I'm coming into a roadwork section. Yeah, I'm having to slow down. Oh, that'll be nice for the recording. It'll mean that it's easier to hear. There's not as much road noise. I really, really want a coffee. The car colors of the cars around me now are more grays. There's a darker gray, there's a gray black, a silver, two more blacks, a dark gray further ahead, a white van, a white lorry behind me, a red and white lorry, a white lorry with a red symbol, two more black cars. One of them looks more like a bus, a minibus, another white lorry behind a blue van, a red fancy looking shiny ass new red car. A bird just flew overhead. To the right there's a blue lorry and one of those cars containing pickup ones, more blacks, greys, whites, greys, orange cones in green and light brown, and more white blossom that looks like it's falling, more worn concrete, a giant bridge with moss up the side that I just passed underneath, more sandbags holding down rusting signs, more emergency phones standing out with their fluorescent highlighter orange, even brighter than the cones, which are still muddy, as always. There's some brighter new orange fences, warning fences maybe. These lampposts are new. There's yellow wires coming out of them. They must be new. They must have just been repaired or something. I'm still having to go 50, and there's a sign with a deer on it, but there doesn't seem to actually be any roadworks or any change in the road shape. So I guess I do remember driving through that. So they must have finished that section now. I'm thinking that I've got two ideas with what to do with this text, or a few, I guess. I could either turn it into a long video piece, and show that at the final show, or turn it into a book, which I think I would like to do as well as the video piece. If I do the video and I can either print it normally, as you would print a novel, structure it like a Mark Danielewski book with concrete poetry kind of references in the way the text is laid out, and that could be interesting, but would also take absolutely fucking forever. But I need to look up how much time I've got left. Oh man, the fences on the side now are wooden and old, and now they look concrete. They look like concrete wood, and they've got ivy and sticks growing out of them. And there's discarded fences, horizontal and illegible, and yellow post that has security cameras on it. And now the temporary road arrangement is coming into act. There's cat's eyes splitting the road and moving it into narrower lanes. So I have to be more careful now with my driving. I should be okay, but a van on the left is coming up quite aggressively, looking like it wants to go faster. But that is just fucking stupid, man. Slow down. The fields on the left have got tufty grass, kind of reminds me of when I was in Wales for that geography coursework, and there's yellow wires hanging between the trees, and I think it's little things like this that I don't never notice, and they're the things that make areas believable. You can always hang a fucking wire between things and it'll make it look more realistic. I feel like car just overtook me on the right. My throat is getting quite rough from all this talking. I really do need a coffee. I hope that. And I've gone down another tick on my petrol. I'm almost in the red zone now. So I really do need a service station soon. I still don't know where a sign was. I think the sign said it was at coming towards the 20 miles away. Sorry, I feel like my thoughts are faster than my speech. But I don't know how they can be because I'm trying to just speak what I'm thinking, but at the same time, I'm thinking about what I'm going to say before I say it, and it's difficult and strange and almost out of body. And I don't know what to do. And there's the cars behind me. I'm the only car in the middle lane, it seems, keeping a steady pace behind this lorry that's on the left. I don't think I have enough room to overtake it. My lane is being very narrow now, and now they're coming back into their full-size lanes, and I'm hoping that I'll go back up to normal speed soon. There's a little brick cartoon-looking house on the right that must be a place where they watch the cameras. I don't know. And like a Bentley or something is really coming up close behind me. But I am going over the speed limit, so I don't know what it wants me to do. Okay, we're going up to full speed now. Still on the M4 road, coming up on the left is going to the A33. There's a little modern VW Beetle there with a smiling woman and a big glass window out the back. That new design, and some of these cones on the left now are blue, electric blue. I've not seen those before. No, I'm lying. I have seen those before. There was some very detailed, colourful graffiti there, but I don't know what those cones are for. Are they for, I don't know, maybe they're just a new colour of cone that they're slowly introducing as a replacement, but I don't know. I'm feeling like I might be coming up. I'm coming up to Reading now. There must be services at Reading. I pray I really want a coffee and a rest from speaking, at least momentarily. Car's really going fast on my right here, so scary. I really like the way the wind turbines look on the horizon. I like how in contemporary Japanese illustration and Japanese art direction, there's always wind turbines, and they use them as a kind of beautiful symbol. But then over here, we have all these bullshit-ass conservative old people complaining about how they ruin the landscape, which is just not true. But then in like, I'm thinking about Big Hero 6 or like the old Tamagotchi website, that's a deep cut, having wind turbines in a beautiful way. I think that's really nice. There's a big PepsiCo building coming up on the left. No, on the right, sorry. And it looks very old. The logo is old. And it's weird to me that PepsiCo is the name of that company because it's just, I mean, it's very on the nose, isn't it? I mean, did they come up with Pepsi first and name the company after Pepsi? Maybe, I don't know. There's a What the fuck? There's a lake with a giant inflatable obstacle course, orange and white obstacle course, floating in the lake there, underneath the pylons and the wires. And the van that I'm just passing has humanoid chefs with duck heads. I feel like this drive is taking a surreal turn, but I'm not even. I'm just noticing things. And now there's a solar farm on the left. The solar panels are facing away, so I'm just seeing the back of them. Reminds me of tree bark, the kind of texture and lines that they're creating. I think that's really nice. I'm coming off now onto Reading Services. There's a big tower, big mound of dirt with grass and weeds growing out of it. And there's some horses to the left in a field, lots of horses actually, brown horses mostly. There's a couple of white horses, white horse with a black head, lots of horses, and lots of mounds of dirt and what look like conveyor belts that you see at like mines, like coal mines. I wonder what they're digging for. They must be digging for something. There's stacks of tires. I can see blue patches of sky now. I'm slowing right down now, coming into these services. I think they're ones I'm somewhat familiar with. I'm recognizing the signs. There's a big cement mixer truck coming out now. I think I'm going to get petrol first and then go in for. No, I'll get a coffee first and then go for petrol. Yeah. This is the one I normally stop at. I'm making good time then, I guess, in a way. It's not that difficult. There's some big boulders here, decorative, haha, boulders. I wonder if they must be real, but where did they get them from? Why would they ship in buy boulders in order to decorate this service station? And service stations are so weird. They feel like theme parks. There's all these signs directing you around, like I'm pulling into Center Parks and parking and pulling up. There's a Holiday Inn here, and it's like, I just had my haircut before I took this drive, and I was talking to the barber about how weird it was that, oh shit, I've gone the wrong way. I wasn't paying attention. I'll have to go in a big circle round, I guess. It gives me more time to talk about it. I was talking to my barber about how weird it was that there are Holiday Inns and things at service stations, and that means there must be people staying. But how many people are service station hotel at night? That's just a weird thought to me. Okay, I'm at a petrol station. I have to pass through it. Oh, I bet I look so shifty talking to myself like this. I'm just letting a lorry go in front. I remember stopping here with when my wiper fluid reservoir was leaking. What is this truck doing that I'm following behind? I wish it hadn't pulled out. Would have been so fine. So I can go right here, yeah, into the main service station. And I'm going to pay closer attention this time so that doesn't happen again. So when I stop here, I'm going to stop the recording, and I'm not going to talk until I get back in, and then I'll maybe talk about what happened inside. I really, really hope it's recorded this all. There's so many signs everywhere with such small text, and they're right at the side of a road that you're not going to stop on. And that's really bizarre. Like, how would anyone read them? I guess it's some of those like terms and conditions signs that are designed not to be read really, but they like exist so that people can say that they did do it. I remember stopping at this station when we were on our way to the King of Limbs that one time. Okay, so I'm pulling up now, and I'm about to stop the recording for the first time. All right, recording part 2 begins right now. I've just filled up on petrol and I'm coming out of the petrol station now. I feel like this was exactly the right thing to do. I feel way more refreshed. This was really strange. In the car in front of me was someone like, in the car parked in front of me in front of me at the petrol station was someone that was in my year at school who I'd never ever spoken to, but who I've heard a lot about recently for various reasons. And it's just like incredibly strange. He was there and we kind of like noticed and we were like, what the fuck? And I said that this is really, really strange. And he was like, yeah, this is really strange. And that was it. And like, I think we were both so shocked that we didn't really know what to say. And it's really bizarre because it's like, I'd never spoken to him. I don't know him, probably don't like him. I don't know where he lives, but he doesn't live around here. He doesn't live here in Reading. He doesn't go to university. He goes to university up north. So there's like no reason we should be bumping into each other. So that's bizarre. But yeah, I had coffee. I filled up on petrol. I feel ready to go. I feel more enthused again about this idea. I think that whatever happens and whatever comes out of it it is what it is. And the idea is the idea. And I think that there's something good about that. There's another lake to my left here. Maybe these are reservoirs because I can't imagine that they're naturally forming lakes around here. There's like buoys floating in it and stuff and some little islands. And maybe I don't know if you have buoys and islands in reservoirs because they're man-made, so I guess it is a lake. There are rivers around here. I suppose there's another lake coming up now in the service station. When I was getting the coffee, the barista asked me if I wanted a receipt. Oh no, that's okay. And then she looked at me again as if she hadn't heard me, so I was like, oh no, that's okay. And then she looked kind of really confused and then kept looking at me and I was like, what's going on in my head? And then she started talking to someone behind me and it was just like a really, really strange encounter. And I feel like I did something wrong, but I also know that I didn't. Haha, I didn't do anything wrong, so that was weird. It was quite a quiet service station, and according to my phone, it's only going to take 3 hours from here, which is obviously good. That means I'm about a quarter of the way of talking, but I guess when you think of it that way, there's still quite a lot to go. But that's not a disastrous amount of time, I don't think. There's a truck to my left that has wooden planks and metal poles and a concrete or plaster bucket holding things. And they're all kind of exposed on the outside of this truck, being held on with like bungee cord. And I always wonder how those like don't just have more accidents where they fall off the back and things, because that seems like really unsafe to me. I remember that service station when I went to the King of Limbs with, I think I said this before, driving to Wiltshire, and we described the situation being like redoing an early level of a video game after having leveled up and gotten more experience and more knowledge and understanding. Because the first time we went to the King of Limbs, we got the train and we camped. And after we got off at the station, we realized we were in the completely wrong area and there was no buses apart from one in like 2 hours. So we waited around in this very small town and we went into this pub and everyone looked at us like we were lost, and we were. And we felt like outsiders, and we got this bus, and we got the bus to the town where the campsite was, but the campsite wasn't accessible by walking, and we didn't have a map, so we had to walk up the side of a dual carriageway to the campgrounds. And then when we got there, it like stormed all night, and our tent leaked and got all our equipment wet, like camera equipment. And then the next day was like, oh, we don't need a map, we should try and find it ourselves. That's like the theme of the trip. And so we got completely lost in this massive forest, this ancient forest, for the whole day. We didn't have any food or water, and it was boiling hot. And then we were wandering around, and we found this like group of people having barbecues by a giant obelisk, and they didn't know the way, and they didn't offer us any food. And then we found a cottage with like a water mill and someone chopping wood, and he pointed us the right. No, and then he didn't know, but then his daughter turned up and she drove up and thought, I guess we were robbing them or something, but we weren't. And she gave us directions. And then when we managed to find our way to the tree finally, and it was well off the beaten track, we wouldn't have found it if this hadn't happened. And we were sitting up in this tree, just like chilling, listening to music. I think we might have, yeah. And then an old man turns up with like a quiver over his shoulder and some sticks poking out of it. And we were like, what are you doing here? And he said, I make wands. And he was a wand maker. And he was talking to us about how the wood from this tree was special, especially magic and spiritual, because it was well over 1,000 years old. All of the energy from the people that have ever been past it, and all the energy from all the trees around had been absorbed into the wood. And so he would only pick up the sticks that had naturally fallen. And we also found out that he used to live in, or own, I can't remember, the giant mansion that's in the forest that Radiohead recorded In Rainbows in. So that's just like, and then when we drove back, this was in summer, and when we drove back in the winter of the same year, we just drove there. We drove straight up to the tree, we got out, we got what we needed, and we left. And it was like a completely different experience. And we've learned from the previous time, and we've gained new skills and new understandings and matured and grown up, I think, in a lot of ways. And I think this was after my first few months at Southampton and first few months in LA. And so we both had quite a rough, informative times, and we've come back and everything was different, and we went back to this place. And so that's what that service station reminded me of. And to some extent, these roads, I remember both times on the trips, we had kind of mystical encounters with birds. On the train, on the way back, the train went through a tunnel, came out of the tunnel, sounded like the horn, and then suddenly the carriage was filled with feathers. Like feathers came in, shooting in through the windows, and sunlight came in through the windows. And we don't know what had happened. Maybe the train had hit a group of doves or something, but there were all these feathers all in the air. And it felt quite like the moment at the beginning of Z2 where there's feathers everywhere, and when the swan causes the car crash. And then on the car trip there were lots of flocks of blackbirds completely filling the sky, like apocalyptic Hitchcock blackbirds. And so the summer trip was the whitebird feathers, and the winter trip was the blackbird swarms. And I think that's I don't know why me and always had these kind of mythical experiences, but we did, and all of our time together was kind of defined by these occasions. And driving these roads now on my own, I don't feel like I'm going to have anything like that, I guess, happening upon. I knew that I went to my school, and then I guess there have been a few weird things like that in inflatable obstacle course floating in that lake, but nothing to the same scale, nothing of the same spirituality to it. There's a lot of fallen trees to my left in these woods, and the light is reflective of the dark green leaves in a really nice way. And the trees coming out of this hill are bending upright, because they're coming out on an angle and they're bending upright. And it's really amazing to me. I mean, obviously, I know how it works, like scientifically, but it's still cool to see the trees and plants knowing the direction of gravity and the direction of the sun and things like that. And that they're, without knowing it, they're following these kind of cosmic laws. A car just passed with a roof box on. We used to have roof boxes when we traveled up to Norfolk, but we don't do that anymore. We all drive up independently. So there's no need to put all the luggage in one car. There's some little dirt tracks and gates and fences and hedgerows and a small stream and old thick trees bending in and out of the stream, going up and down and around. It reminds me of the scenery in those fishing DVDs that I've been collecting, and making me, I think I still need to work on that film. I'm going to make out of those, the bracken and thicket on the right now is that same orangey yellow flower color, and in the trees there's like hundreds of bird nests that you can see very clearly because they have no leaves on them at the moment. I wonder if was the birds are living there all at once. There's a patch of newly growing evergreen trees to the right, I guess pine trees, or perhaps some kind of, like, it can't be a fruit or anything, but there's a giant herd of cows to the right as well on top of a hill, and they're all standing up, so I guess that means that it's not going to rain. There are lots and lots of them all clumped together. I'm wondering about what I should call this piece. I'm thinking either naming it after the route, Redbourne to Plymouth on 16th of April, or something like Road Thoughts or Road Words. No, that sounds shit. Engines and Raindrops is, I think, one of my best titles, but I've already called something that. Oh, there's a deer in that field just there, standing, in a young deer in the middle of that field next to a telegraph pole, completely empty. It doesn't look like it was going anywhere or doing anything, but it wasn't hurt or anything. It didn't look like still on a section of road with those cat's eye division thinning road sections for roadworks. You can see a house with some washing tied up down to the left of me. I need to be careful not to overlap into the lane on the right. I am losing concentration a bit, trying to notice too much. I'm hot again. I took my jumper off at the service station and I've turned the aircon down, but I'm sweating and sticking to the seat. And it's amazing to me how sore my throat is getting from doing this. It doesn't feel like it should be because I'm not shouting, but I guess just talking constantly does have an actual effect. There was a learner pulled off to the side there. It looked like they might have crashed. I don't know. I don't know what a learner is doing on a motorway. You're not allowed to be on a motorway if you're a learner. I can see coming up ahead, the road is going back to normal and back to full speed, so that's good. I had the idea at the service station of how to format the book. I think I'm going to make it like a landscape book, comic strip shaped, like the Calvin and Hobbes books I'm thinking about. And the text will be formatted into one line on each page, continuous, going across each page without any punctuation. And beneath the line will be the waveform of the audio file that I'm recording. Because I definitely want to draw attention to the fact that it was audio, like speech, and I want to turn the immaterial, ephemeral, ethereal aspect of an audio file into something physical. That's the important part about making it a book, I think. I'm not expecting people to want to buy and read this book, but I want to turn this moment in time into something that you can hold and flick through, the turning of pages being kind of like the rolling of wheels. I don't know how to translate the sounds, but going over these little dips in the road, the car, like clunking rhythmically, with the wheels, like that one shot inside Llewellyn Davis where he's hitchhiking along the motorway at night, and it goes to a front view from the bumper over these little lines in the road, and it's going chadum, chadum. Try and recreate that with the turning of pages rather than punctuation, because it's obviously a rhythmical thing, but because this is so stream of consciousness and not formatted into sentences, I don't know if it would make sense if there would be punctuation. And I actually don't know how the dictation software works, whether it recognizes sentences and creates punctuation for you, or if you have to say comma, comma, full stop, colon, semicolon. I wonder right now if those are typed out as words or if those are typed out as symbols, because I wonder if it will recognize any of this at all. Again, over the road noise, I don't know, it's hard to say. The road is becoming more flat and less hilly, and the fields and banks each side have flattened out. The horizon feels straighter, flatter, more distant, more circular. I feel like the circular radius of my sight is the only thing that exists right now. Like Discworld or the flat earth theory or something, or like the idea that only what you see exists and behind you doesn't exist until you turn around and look at it. But because I'm looking at the moment through mirrors constantly, I'm fully aware of everything around me. Like I can see behind me, I can see to my sides, I can see left and right, and all around, but only within the parameters of my vision. And because I'm moving constantly, nothing is the same. Everything looks the same. Everything is more green fields rising and falling, and lines across these fields, and a little road coming down between these fields, hedgerows, barns, what looks like a field of buttercups, or perhaps like rapeseed or trees, and this tree and this sign and power boxes and big disused electronic signs that don't have anything, and posts and bollards and barriers and handrails for little steps, stairways that go nowhere, and houses that are connected to nothing, and there's no pylons around here. There's lorries, there's cars, there's lines on the road. You can see the faded marks from where lines used to be of, yeah, go on, fucking overtake me then. I can't, what are you expecting me to do? I can't go out in front of you. I'm stuck behind a slow. Okay, thank you, fuck's sake. And that pylon, those telegraph poles are quite old, looking wooden, and they phone wires. Do phone wires exist anymore? Do phone lines travel across wires? They do, don't they? Not through the air. I don't know. I'm wondering what everyone in these cars around me are doing right now. If they're listening to music, listening to the radio. I wonder if they're listening to the same radio stations as each other. I wonder if they're talking, or if they're on their own, where they're going to, if they're doing stupid art pieces like me. There was another plastic bag in that tree again. There's just so iconic, that image. Just overtaken a sunglasses wearing slip looking old guy in a BMW, and I feel quite good about myself, haha, for doing that. Looked like there was a skate park down to the side, but I think it was just industrial area, got skateboarding on the brain. There's cute little cartoonish houses down there. I've put I plugged in my iPod when I was at the service station, and I'm playing that piece of music I made, driving music, which is an hour and a half long stretch of Johnny Mathis's Misty, which is my favorite song. And it's stretched and muffled so that it sounds like ambient car noises. And I'm listening to that to try and create some other noise other than just my own voice, which is really strange. I've got to say, like, it is a weird feeling. And maybe I'll encourage people to listen to that piece while they're reading this. I don't know. Maybe I'll encourage them right now to, start listening to it right now. Now you're reading what I'm saying right now. If you are, start listening to that. It's free. It's online. Maybe if I turn this into a video, I'll have that as the background. Would it be a 4-hour video, or would my text, or the text would come out maybe faster than I'm speaking? Probably. I don't know. How many times have I said I don't know? And I'll have to delete all the ums, or maybe I won't. I don't know. The cars around me right now all seem to be quite bright whites and light grays, and I feel almost like I'm in a pack with them, like a pack of white wolves running across paved over fields or something. Up mountainsides, quite a communal feel. I'm expecting when I get into Bristol and Exeter that there'll be a lot of traffic, very slow moving traffic, and there'll be a sense of I like that sense of community that develops in that kind of situation. I wonder how easy it is to get into lorry driving, because I think it's a job I would quite enjoy, and I believe it's quite well paid, but it is also very unhealthy and soul crushing. I imagine, like, quite boring but quite peaceful. I don't know, really vast fields right now, endless fields. I'm thinking about that film, A Field in England, and I'm thinking I would really like to make a film about motorway travel, but I don't know how, because I don't have the ability to record audio in a car very well. I could dub it, I suppose, and make it stylistic. I do want to make something more narrative though, and have the stylistic, artistic elements feed into a narrative and be punctuated by narrative scenes. Like, I'm thinking about Mirror, which, I mentioned this earlier, and I watched it 2 days ago. And for every symbolic imagery and slow image based scenes, there's like a realistic narrative scene as well. And I think that's important, maybe to keep up a flow, because I find it very difficult to watch purely abstract, long form video content. Apart from maybe Bill Morrison, but even then I haven't sat through Decasia, which is like 70 minutes, because that felt too long. I'm starting to feel a bit more excited and optimistic and happy about returning to Plymouth. I I have been very worried about it, and have enjoyed my time at home, but I think I'm on the right path, and I need maybe to be in that environment in order to work more consistently. There's some black mounds, really solid black mounds in that field. They look almost sci-fi. They must be dirt, but they're so much darker than all the other dirt around. Perhaps compost, like compost that was shipped in or something. But that was really bizarre. Almost like these heaps of shadow just like placed in this field. We've got more services coming, but definitely not time for another break yet. I've only just started again, really. There's a convertible blue car passing by on the right there, and one of those electronic signs says 40, and caution has a Q sign on it, and there's a blown out warehouse to my left, and a giant totem pole looking, I guess, satellite pole or something. I don't know what you would call that to the right, really. Really tall from here, with all these wires connecting it. Maybe, it might be a lightning. Oh yeah, that's what it is. It'll be a lightning rod. That's what they called, yeah, to protect all the cars, I guess, and buildings around this area, because there's nothing else at all. There was no queue. The sign says end again now, so that's good at least. There's another solar farm on the left here. I'm getting a little more of a glimpse of the actual panel. They're very bright, just reflecting the sky. Again, I'm just thinking about Bob Ross again. I'm thinking it would have been interesting if Bob Ross had ever stepped out of his comfort zone and painted like industrial Britain, and kind of like wastelandy landscapes in the same style as his beautiful mountains and trees and lakes, like applying his same ideas to this kind of area. And I know that he's done some areas, some like buildings and things, but they never seem quite right. And these are landscapes I'm talking about, so I don't know. I would like to, yeah, I want to watch some Bob Ross tonight to fall asleep to. I think that'd be nice. I'm getting quite, I'm conscious of the fact that I'm getting quite internal now. My arms feel suddenly very heavy, and what must have been a caffeine rush in my head is fading. Oh, I feel weird all of a sudden. I feel bubbling and empty and sad, and I don't know why I feel. I don't know. I'm really fed up at the moment. I feel almost like I'm in a confessional right now. I feel like I'm really not. I'm going nowhere, and I feel so abandoned and at the complete mercy of the way everyone else treats me, and that if everyone decided to leave, which it feels like people slowly are. I don't know if that's just pessimism talking, but I feel like if people left, I wouldn't be strong enough to be on my own. And I don't know if I don't no, I don't want to get into that kind of thing. I think I can see some sheep in the distance, and the way the sun is falling on these fields is making them really pale and washed out. And there's fields really going off into the distance now, fading off into the distance so much that they're getting foggy, and they're light greens and they're light browns and they're darker greens, but they're all desaturated. And there's crows and sheep and yellow fields, golden fields coming up and up on the distance. And I feel like I'm going down now into a valley perhaps. And there's tall trees, but they're so far away that they're small and speckly and scratchy. I'm getting closer to the sheep now, and you can see how much grass the sheep have been eating because the field looks quite dead. And there's like a little trough which must have water in for the sheep, or food perhaps. There's all these weird little tufts and fences, and I'm going really slow now, but there's too many cars. I can't. Gonna pull out now in front of this one, overtake this highway maintenance van. Maybe it's the one I saw earlier. I don't think. I don't think so. So the sun's breaking through the grey clouds, and there's patches of grey blue, and the sun is shining bright onto those fields to my left, making the green really bright and vibrant compared to all the other fields around. And the plastic bottles and dust and dirt and stones, the dark and the shadow of that little mound, and there's a tractor coming across that field. And to my right, there's a cartoonishly round hill with a metal grid, like pole post tower on top of it, with no wires connecting it to anywhere. I don't know what it's doing. And there's two old white cottages with thatched roofs that I can see hidden by some trees. And I'm shaking my hands, and arms are shaking, and I don't know why. I just saw the number 120 on a concrete wall, a part of a bridge that went up over the road. I hope. I feel really weird. I don't know what it is. I feel really shaky and unstable and weak, and suddenly very nervous again about everything and about all of this. I really hope this is recording. I'm really scared if I don't have any. If this doesn't work, I have no more ideas. I'm so completely out of ideas. I've been working so much recently that I feel like I've completely drained myself of everything. And I've been doing so much that I can't tell what's good and not anymore. That car that just drove past, I saw. I saw in my window that I'm getting really weak and lightheaded. Oh God. I'm going to try and have a drink of. Oh no, this bottle's empty. I thought it would have water in it earlier, but it doesn't. There's a cloud of dust. I don't know what it is. Why am I getting into such a panic? I'm not going to have a panic attack on the road, am I? Oh God. Okay, okay. I'll try and calm down. Oh, there's two lines of cars going in either directions on these two bridges, and there's black and red cars in front of me and a maroon van coming up behind me, I think. I'm getting hot. I think that's what it is. Think I'm getting too hot and sweaty, and I think that maybe the coffee was a bad idea. But I'm okay. I'm okay. And oh God, this is really horrible feeling. And I feel really exposed and like I'm at complete mercy of nature or something. I don't know why I feel like I feel. When I had that panic attack on the plane on the way to America, when I was watching Spotlight, there's a really beautiful spiral pathway, concrete pathway going over the road just there. I've never seen that before. It looks almost like the front horns of a male goat or something. Oh, the lorry in front of me just slipped off onto the side track and blew up a load of dust and grit into my way, and I couldn't see anything. So I pulled over to the right. I hope they're okay. They hope they weren't falling asleep at the wheel, the driver. I feel really lonely just talking to myself like this. There's a pile of rubbish and logs and piles of logs, and to the side of the road there and more wires crisscrossing around between poles, and there's someone coming up behind me on a motorbike looking like a kind of like a chopper kind of thing. I wonder, I think I would feel very frightened on a motorbike, very exposed there, wearing a camo top, which is funny, and brown trousers, and I'm passing a blue lorry on my left. There's some houses off on the distance towards the left with cars driving around in front of them. So I guess we are near some kind of road that goes past. Oh, my voice is trembling. I feel really unwell. Haha. I'm kind of laughing, but I'm really feeling really scared actually. I don't know why I feel like this. Maybe I need more to eat or something. I don't know. I'm holding onto my jumper now. I'm scared. It's going to sound like I'm making this up for the piece, but I'm really not. This has never happened. I don't know. Maybe if I wasn't focusing so much on my thoughts, I wouldn't be getting into such a panic like this. It feels almost like when I was doing therapy and I had to, when I was having an episode and I would have to write down all of my thoughts very specifically and analyze all of them. It feels like that, and I wonder if maybe I'm getting back into that headspace. I don't know. I do feel I don't know what it is, but this journey is making me think a lot about my time on the planes to America, my time in America when I was visiting my ex-girlfriend. I'll probably take her name out when I'm editing this. Yeah, I will. I'll make a note, or this is the note, I suppose. And during that, I stayed over there for a long summer and regularly had panic attacks and breakdowns and episodes, and because of the way things happened over there, my the feelings of being so stuck in another place that was so different from home, so isolated and afraid and hungry, so really hungry all the time, and I had to sleep on the floor in their laundry room, on a mattress on the floor, and I didn't feel welcome when I was over there for months, and I felt really at that time, and also at that time I was coming to and from Southampton a lot, and I felt really like I had no proper home. And I know that's something Siebel talks about, but at that time I really felt like I had no home, and trying to feel like my home was maybe with her in the States, but it really wasn't. And then when I came back home, real home, to my family home, I think my parents might have felt quite confused about, well, I was going through a loss at the time, and I think they felt worried and didn't know how to deal with it. And I know I did, and Southampton wasn't my home, but I spent a lot of time down there. Even though I'd stopped university, I still lived down there, and I feel like those months have. And I don't. I wish I wasn't talking about this. I don't. This isn't what I wanted to happen. I felt like those times have been completely wiped from my brain. There were months that I spent down there where I didn't know. I didn't go to university. I didn't have a job. I didn't do anything, and I have no recollection of anything I did while I was there. And it's really frightening, and I don't like remembering this. That I don't know why this exercise is bringing this back into my mind. All these fucking fields look the same. There's more. There's another solar farm here, and I guess like I'm seeing more of the fronts again now. They must face towards the south right now. That's where like the direction that gets the most sun. The roads are very flat around here, and the middle track between the two directions is growing little white flowers. The road noise is very loud right now, and I really hope that I'll be able to hear myself more over the dictation software. We'll be able to hear me when I translate this across. Now, I'm very committed to this idea now, though I think I will definitely do that. I wonder if anybody in all these cars is seeing me talking, and I wonder what they're thinking I'm doing. I wonder if they think I'm on the phone. Everyone is so nameless and faceless when they're traveling on motorways like this. Everyone just becomes their car. All you think of the cars as people. You feel like you yourself are a car, and you feel like the people around you are also cars. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm going to absolutely take another break at the next service station and get some food. I feel very weak, really frightened still, unstable. I'm glad that I'm documenting all of this at least. The area that I'm driving right now has these keep two chevrons apart type things, and I think the word chevron is really funny. It's the only context in which you ever think of, you only ever hear this road, that word, sorry, in the distance, the light and the fog and the clouds are blurring the horizon into the skyline in a really beautiful way. It feels kind of like, oh, my hands and arms are tingling. I feel really, I'm sweating and I feel really unwell. If it keeps going on, I'm going to have to stop, but I don't really want to. I think that this is something is happening here, and it's really tiring myself up. It's so hot in this car. I'm turning up the air conditioning. That's much better actually. I need water and I need a snack, maybe a little sandwich or something. This next station, I will definitely pull up in. I suppose it's better to be safe than sorry rather than to just keep going and try to get it done quickly. There's some white houses over there, more green fields, just so many fields, really noticing how many fields. Oh, I feel really unwell. There's a lorry with a QR code on the back. Are they really encouraging people that are driving to use their phone to scan that to look at the website of this logistics company? That's so stupid, man. What the fuck? I really am wondering if I'm gonna have to stop. I don't know what to do. I'm getting myself into a panic. That's what's happening. I think am I having a panic attack while I'm fucking recording? Oh, this is so stupid. I'm such a fucking idiot. I hate myself so much sometimes. Just like all the time, I don't treat. Oh no, No, I don't need to get into this. I don't need to get into this. I'm sweating a lot. My legs are split wide apart. I'm just gently on the accelerator, keeping between 60 and 70. It's not too busy on this road. Quite nice speed I'm going. Not too many cars. I am thirsty. My mouth feels sticky and dry. My throat is sore. The clouds to the left are getting darker and more dense. Looks like it will rain over that way. And then in front of me, there are sunbeams coming down. There's a sign for an attraction called Wookiee Hole. Wookiee spelt like the Star Wars thing. I don't know what that is. I remember that there are lots of interesting signs on this journey, like Cheddar Gorge. And I know, obviously, I can't remember, Trago Mills and things like that, all these fantasy-sounding names, and perhaps that's maybe an idea of a film I could do, is recontextualize and reconsider my idea for a retelling of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit through a modern lens, and make a kind of surreal fantasy parody of, well, not parody, but fantasy inspired journey across motorways and things, like a road trip across motorways and things that has the feeling of an epic fantasy quest. I'd like to do a ghost story on motorways, but I feel like I would be ripping off Kentucky Route Zero too much, and I don't know, that's not a good idea. Definitely, I'm really tired. I'm feeling a bit better though. I am hungry. I think maybe it's the coffee has spun me out. Maybe I shouldn't have had that. It was nice though. It was nice. That's a color of a car you don't see often, kind of orange. Oh, I had a weird deja vu there. I don't know. I'm remembering driving back from there was a dead animal at the side of the road there that looked quite big, almost like a tapir. I wonder what that was. I'm remembering driving her back from Plymouth and her falling asleep and being happy but also stressed out. And wanting time alone, but now that I am alone, I desperately want anything but that. I've enjoyed seeing, I'm not going to say her name, but I'm not going to say anyone's names. I'll cut that bit out over this 2 weeks off, that's been nice. Oh, I wish I hadn't said this. I should cut this all out, maybe. I won't. Is it more truthful? I don't know. There's a bigger highway maintenance truck that I'm just passing now, really sweating a lot, really panicking a lot, but also calm. There's sheep on the left, pylons, cones, grass tufts, some teenagers with some guys. Their van must have broken down. They're towing a boat. They're sitting on a fence, hay bales covered in black plastic sheets. Another broken down car with a guy leaning against a signpost. Oh, who are they waiting for? And there's a house up on a hill, and there's a sign telling river, we're passing the River Avon, I guess is what the sign says. I wonder how long I've been going for on this stretch. I'm just going to check 48 minutes in this stretch. It's 4:30. So if I can find another service station that will, it's not a terrible place to stop. I guess I wonder, all in all, how long this text is going to end up being. I don't know. I'm looking myself in the mirror now, the rearview mirror, and I can see that I'm frowning. My hair is short and I'm not used to it yet, and I don't like it. I wish I hadn't got it cut today. I'd rather grow it out. My lips are chapped and peeling and dry. The reflection of my glasses is green. It always is. I really need a break. It's so hot and tiring doing this. I think maybe that the next station I might stop. I don't know. I'm going to decide what to do. I'm sweating a lot, really stressing me out. I really don't know what to do. I think I feel almost like I'll stop trying. Oh God, I haven't seen any signs for services in ages, but there must be some soon. I was feeling so enthused 50 minutes ago. I still am committed. I feel like it's a good idea. I don't know. I just don't know what to do really. It might be coming up onto the M5 soon, but there is a services in 1 mile, so that's good. I'm gonna come off here. Only be a few minutes, I guess. There's an M&S, so I'll get a wrap or something to eat. I don't know. I'm such a mess. Really disappointed in myself. I'd really hate to fail on this idea. I don't want to crash or anything, do anything silly and reckless. I need to read that book, Crash. Always come back to this idea of car crashes. They're so visceral. My hands are all tingling still, like I'm something wrong. These services are more tucked away than the last ones in the woodland, it seems. Must be a bit smaller. I reckon that the ones at Reading that would make sense, I suppose. I don't know if I've ever stopped at these ones before. I don't think I have. They're quite quiet. Yeah, I'm parking quite near the front. Soon I will stop this recording, and either this will be it or I'll start another recording soon, just pulling in now. Okay, I'm starting the recording of part 3, and I'm I took a while and I'm feeling a bit better, but I'm going to be more careful this time. And if I'm not feeling okay again, I'm going to stop because I don't want to die for this really shit, bullshit piece of performance or whatever the fuck this is. It's shit, so I'm going to take it a bit more casually and a bit more slowly and just get through it and take more breaks, I think, is important as well. But I do think this is something I should finish. I don't think there's any point in stopping halfway through because it doesn't make any sense to do that. So fingers crossed I don't fucking crash. I'm just pulling off and coming back onto the main motorway road now from the station. I've had a little snack and I've got some water, so I should be fine. And I'm listening to, I put on my iPod Steve Reich's music for 18 musicians, which is a nice piece, a nice piece of music, which has a lot of momentum to it, and I think that'll help keep me focused and keep me okay and keep me out of my head so that I don't get too emotional again. Just keep focused on driving and focused on feeling okay. There was a weird tower in the distance over there that was like an upside down triangle, and I'm wondering what that is and how that's staying upright. It's very weird, and a fence there with some barbed wire. I don't know what that's keeping out. I can't see inside to have a look. And a farmhouse, big farmhouse, and there's a care bus with some old people in it overtaking me to the right. Oh, and volunteer drivers required, it says. So I guess that the driver is doing this free of charge, which is interesting, I suppose. No, it's not. What am I? Just not even. This is so. I'm really unhappy. I'm really unhappy. I'm not even halfway, and I've already nearly died, and I've run out of things to talk about, and I'm feeling okay at least though, not shaking anymore. But yeah, not talking as much this time. The pylons around here are really, really big and really tower over all the trees and hedges and the houses. You never really think about how many there are, but there are so many, and they have such a distinctive design. They really stand out. They don't look like anything natural. The closest thing you could say they look like are trees, I suppose, but they don't look natural enough to be compared with them. And to my left, there are some horses there. There's a white one with black spots on it, and a brown one with some houses there, and more pylons going off into the distance, and smoke coming from somewhere that's fogging and obscuring all of the buildings. Someone is having a bonfire, I think. I can smell it now in the car. That smoky bacon smell again, haha. Smoky bacon crisps. Bacon Crispies from Aldi, quite a beautifully designed trailer there. Pale yellows and pale greys for some kind of Swedish company. Trees and fields either look like guardians, like watchful guardians, or like groups of friends hanging out, depending on how many there are. I really wish there was someone with me. I really wish I had a dog. I think I saw a pigsty over there, a pigloo, as I like to call them, because they look kind of like igloos. And there's some horses again. The pattern under that bridge was almost like a mosaic. I wonder if that's what they're going for. How many times have I said, I wonder? Yeah, I am feeling a lot better actually. I think I'll do okay this time. Just need to take more breaks. It'll be worth it in the end. Like that guy that spent a week with a coyote, he didn't stop being like, oh, I think I'm having a panic attack. It's like he stuck it out. So did like Marina Abramovich, like whatever, all that. So I think I mean, I'm not comparing myself to them, but I'm saying like I have to do this, and then ultimately people are going to be reading through all of this text that I'm saying right now, and it's not going to make sense how someone could get so emotional and fragile and scared by just talking in a car. And I can't explain it. It was like something completely overtook me. I'm worried it'll happen again, but it was like I really thought something terrible was going to happen. I was completely overcome by fear and anxiety, and I don't know. I think I might be near Bristol now, nearish at least, which is good. I'm making good time. I'm making good time. Sign up ahead says that Bath is Bath. The road coming off soon goes to Bath, so that's pretty close to Bristol, and I'm pretty sure that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering about people's reactions when I show them this piece. I hope it goes down well. I hope so. I don't know. Wow, that field was really nice. Lots of little brown, sticky up, little dry, sticky, scratchy plants, and some kind of more kind of dead grass, and being pressed back into a sign up ahead says report of debris. So should need to be careful on the lookout for that. I don't see any yet. I wonder what that could mean, if maybe something has fallen off the back of a lorry or a van or something. So many plastic bags and bottles everywhere, all along the side, so many. And they'll just be there forever. Like, they'll never get anybody coming up really, like walking along the banks of a motorway cleaning. And even if they did, there would just be more would just appear. Like, they'll always be there. The way the hedges are darker and contrasting against the grass in the fields makes them look like a quilt and like patched together. And I know that's not like a new idea or a new image, but it really does seem that way. Like, someone has sewn together this patchwork landscape, laid it over some lumps, and stuck some fucking pylons in the grass. Like, I don't know, another solar field, solar farm. It's good that there are more solar farms being built, but why are there not more? Haha, like, because there's so many grassy, empty fields, so many, all I do is describe fields getting more blue as they go into the distance, fields divided by hedgerows, fields with trees, fields with pylons, fields with animals, plowed fields, dead fields, newly grown fields, fields with crops in, fields with solar panels in, fields with holes, fields with tufts. A Ferrari just passed me on the right. You have to be such a prick to drive a Ferrari, don't you? It has like a hum, like a loud audible hum that says, I'm driving an expensive car, look at me. People know exactly what they're doing when they're driving a car like that. I would never do that. Even if I had loads of money, I would never drive a car like that. I'd like to get one of those car air fresheners that's like a cardboard, like a piece of cardboard that looks like a pine tree. I think they're so funny. Or fairy dice, they're hilarious. I would love to get one of them. I should. Gets in the way though. I've got a small front window, so a windscreen. I mean, more newly growing trees with a plastic tubing around their bases, and there's a motorbike here with a metal box on the back that must have some of his shit in. I don't know what though. Looked very like it looked really heavyweight, those boxes. I don't know how to explain. To my right, there's some sewage works or water tanks or something like that, and perhaps connecting it to these buildings that are kind of nearby in the distance that put like stuff way out of the way of everything else. So there's some houses to the left, lots of houses actually. It looks like they've just been built because there's still building works and freshly kind of dug up ground nearby, but they've all got quite nice pastely pale colors to them, which is nicer than a lot of. Oh no, I spoke too soon. They're actually like all like that horrible new brick color that new houses are. That nothing else is that color apart from new houses, and they look disgusting. Oh, there's another report of debris sign up ahead, telling us to go down to 40 now. So I wonder what that's about. Who reports the debris? Who does that? Some busybody like phoning up, like, oh hello, there's some debris in the road. Like, I don't know who does that. Like, yeah, there's another sign up ahead again saying to slow down. And actually now there's some road work, so I'm slowing down for that anyway. Obviously some people aren't, but but I am. I tell you what, I'm going to sleep well tonight. I don't know. There's a tree coming up which looks quite like an acacia tree, one of those kind of trees that you'll see in like the grasslands. I'm remembering like Zoo Tycoon or like The Lion King or something. It's got that kind of shape to it, but it just like weird. It's actually a pine tree that's just really crooked and bent over almost like a bonsai. A giant bonsai that's been carved and twisted and trained over years, lost it maybe. Maybe it's just been following. Maybe there was something there covering up its access to the sun, and it had to move and grow in that way to change. Looks like the traffic is coming to a standstill up here. I don't know why. Only the left lane, though, really suddenly stopped, actually. I wonder what that was about. I'm going to have some water, some horses. I can see to the left there. It's really tiny, tiny yellow sign that says danger overhead cables. And it's like, oh, great. Yeah, thanks. But, oh, shit, I'm in the wrong lane. Oh, no, I dropped the water bottle. Oh, that is a disaster. Oh no, I've got it back actually. I reached behind me and got it back. That's why this traffic slowed down so much. It was for coming off here onto the M32. It'll be quite fun maybe to go over Google Maps and work out, plot the route and work out when I'm saying these things to show the distance, like show my words through distance perhaps. That could be a component of the book as well. I don't know because I'm keeping a good flow on my speech. I haven't really taken more time between sentences now, just so that I don't fucking faint again. But like, we'll be able to all like maybe I don't know. I don't. There's going to be too many words to be able to do anything like stretch them across a map or something. But I could do that. Might be interesting. I don't know if I printed a map really, really big. Perhaps there are too many words. I'm coming up to, oh, not Bristol. I don't think almost Bristol. We'll be coming off onto the M5 soon, which is good. I think that's the final. After Bristol, I go to Exeter, and then from Exeter to Plymouth. So there's not too far left. I'm happy that I'm still going. There's more rusting fences and barbed wire on the left here. And the barbed wire is just protecting a bank. There's no animals, there's nothing behind the barbed wire, and the barbed wire just stops so you can easily get round it. So I don't understand why it's there because it's not keeping anything out or keeping anything in. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that. On the right, it looks like some new fences constructed in some farmland. Perhaps a race course. It looked like maybe, I'm not sure, there's a tree that I just passed that is very pale in colour and ashy and burnt out. And there's some sheep again in the distance and some birds sitting on wires and some wires going down into the ground with dense foliage that will never be accessed again, I don't expect, like till far into the future. I don't know. I always think this to myself on trips, but if you really, really wanted to hide, like really wanted to hide, there are some like patches of, but like plants and stuff next to motorways that won't ever, ever, ever be looked in. And you could definitely like hide in a wood or something and never be found. I mean, maybe I'm seriously underestimating the abilities of like the authorities but I don't know. On the right, there's either a blown up, no, it's being constructed, but it's like a big building that's being constructed, and you can see all of the insides of it, all of the metal framework of it. I've just come onto the M5. No, I've not yet. No, not yet. I'm on my way onto it. I'm just letting a van out in front of me. Yeah. There's a sign there for a place called Aztec West, and I don't know what that is. And there's lots of office buildings and stuff to my left, and wind turbines to the right. Big office for EE, big office for Yodel, big office for, oh, I can't read that sign. Big empty warehouse there with a giant open door, and you can see all the way in, and it was completely empty. Not too many cars. Hopefully, I am on the M5 now. Hopefully, there won't be too much traffic. Maybe I'll get through Bristol before it gets to its worst, but I think the M5 between Bristol and Exeter is the absolute worst. It gets really, so I'm not looking forward to that at all. I think if all goes to plan, I'll break again at Exeter. I think in between each new recording, I will maybe put some pictures, do some. I've done a lot of photography recently of service stations and like roads stuff at night videoing of driving and stuff. So like that. So I'm feeling a lot better again about the way this is going. It is really important to finish. It's I can see now the ocean to my right, or not the ocean, but I think the water that divides Bristol between Wales. I might be completely wrong about this. I have no idea. But there's a big patch of water, and there's some chimneys and smokestacks and what looks like kind of harbour-ish, kind of industrial areas. I'll be passing over the big bridge soon with the giant car parks of for the airport, for the airports, for the airport singular, I should say. If I was still with, I would probably, oh no, I would get the plane from Exeter to Norfolk and do that. I have done that before. I didn't. I do that when I visited her. Yeah, I did. I don't have to do that anymore. So I'm traveling a lot less. But when I do travel a lot, like this, it is a deceivingly long journey. Never quite realize how long it is until I'm doing it again. This is something else I always wonder when I'm driving on motorways, the way how many people are getting roadhead right now. Like at least one person, surely. It does happen, maybe not on motorways though, I don't know, too dangerous. I suppose Bristol Airport is 17 miles, okay. I really underestimated how close I was. Everything is so far away. It's even worse in America, everything is just so far away from everything else. At least once you're in like a city in the UK, you can walk everywhere pretty much, but like there are pavements and shit, and in America it's just designed for cars, like terrible. I like the way the lampposts, and as they get closer together, become almost one line, one color, one shape, one form, curving round the corner ahead of me, like behind the trees that I can't see. And then as you get closer, they spread out and become consistent rhythmical movement in the corner of your eye to help you get a grasp on it. Motion. I can see cranes and massive structures and wind turbines again in over to the right. There's a sign here saying that there's congestion up ahead, so there might be a standstill soon for a little while. And cars on the right going in the opposite direction, wide spread out, which would indicate that they've just come out of an area like gridlock, and that wouldn't be good. I hope that I managed to get everything done for college and outside of college for work and stuff. I don't want to get too emotional again, but I just I just really hope that it works out. There was a football pitch to my left there that I could just see the goal. Looks like a football pitches and maybe a clubhouse building. There's the turning off for the airport, so it hasn't been 17 miles, but it might have been a few at least. Lots of cones around now. I don't, might be works coming up or something. When I look at cones, I think about that scene in Toy Story 2 where they're hiding under the cones, like crossing the road. I don't know, but that water tastes really weird and gross, kind of metallic. It's a bit odd. I just pulled out in front of a car that was going way too fast and wasn't moving over fast enough. And it's some like preppy bullshit looking guy in a really smooth car. And there's oh yeah, here I am coming up to cross the big bridge, I believe now. There's a lot of anticipation. There's some flashing lights and the cars on the left have slowed down. And then as you're going up, it feels like you're going up in the build up to a drop in a roller coaster. And there's big pylons and cranes and big skyscrapers that you can see. And as you go up higher, it reveals more of the landscape. And at the side, and you going up and up and up, and I'm reaching the top now. I'm reaching the top. I can see out over. There's a big river. There's water. There's cranes. There's giant smokestacks. There's big buildings. There's mud flats. There's like boats shored on the side of this river. It must be low tide. Water's all the way down. There's a sea of an ocean of cars all glittering in the sun right now, all reflecting light off their roofs. There's loads and loads of houses to my left. There's a church. There's trees. There's evergreen trees. There's trees without leaves. There's trees growing new leaves. There's lampposts. There's another services coming up. There's more cars on the right. More cars. So many cars. It's like it's a mosaic. It's like it's water. The shape, the curves and rises and falls of the car roofs are like the crests of waves rising and falling. And as I'm moving past them, it's like the water has motion, and they've gone now. And I'm off the bridge, and there's graffiti on my left. There's more fences. There's more trees with white blossom and buds. I'm past these services. This was Big Q coming off to these services. I'm happy that I'm through Bristol. I'm out on the other side now, and it still doesn't seem too busy. I don't know what time it'll be getting busy. Maybe around when I hit Exeter, it'll be at its worst, I imagine. There'll be at some point. Oh, there's another church here. Old-looking church made of bricks. No, not big stones. Faded. There's a rugby pitch, rugby posts. Maybe a dog walker, I think, in a little field by some houses, and then I can't see anything again. Now the trees have taken over again, blocked it all out. There's more fields going up a hill. There's a horse. I can see more rugby pitches, more rugby goalposts, and a rugby kind of clubhouse. There's some adverts on the side of the field, so I guess people actually watch this game or something. Maybe seems weird to me that you would buy ad space on like a local rugby pitch. Newly ploughed field with kind of orangey red clay mud that looks kind of like clay. There's some sheep on this field here, up this hill, pulling over to the left again. Getting too excited going over that bridge. I just wanted to get say everything I could see all at once. The strange shaped building, strange shaped bridge up here looks kind of like maybe a part of a bike or a bone, a wishbone perhaps. Bridges kind of look like ribs almost coming out of the side of the landscape. The holding close the road, holding the road close to the surface of the skin of the earth. I really am surprised there's not that many cars. There's a convertible there with a kind of fashionable looking old woman driving it. There's a white car, and there's a grey car, a black car, and a red car, and another blue car, and a silver, two more silver cars behind me. White, silver. I'm coming up now to the part where the road curves around and along the mountainside and drops away. Feels like driving through scenic routes in mountainous Europe or something you would see in a film. And I can see down to the road with the traffic coming in the other direction, below. And I can see all the way across this giant, what looks like a bowl. When there are hills on all sides, then in the middle is like a bowl. I can see houses and fields, and it's a steep drop past the fence, but the fence looks sturdy enough to withstand a crash, I imagine. So I don't imagine people would have fallen down. And now as I'm going uphill and the hill drops further down to the side, it's just off the side. It's just sky in front and then really faded, foggy hills and trees to the right. Leafless, fingery, spooky trees to my left. Curving back round, now the side of this hill is rocky, dark rocks. There's a sign here warning about the slope of the road, and the rocks have moss and plants growing out of it at an angle. But it's very steep, steeper even still on the right now. The road to the right is dropping down further away. It's very steep, and it looks like we're coming back down. And I can see in the distance an ocean, like not ocean, big stretch of water though, big flat water, and two colossal poles with wires connecting them down to the ground, and posts on my left, and cones and steps, and more grass growing out of what was just growing out of the road. It looks like there's a sign upcoming on my left. It says Noah's Ark Zoo Farm, and I've always wanted to go there. And to my left as well, there is a strange designed building, which looks kind of like a mine shaft chimney, but then also a little bit like Eastern European architecture or Middle Eastern architecture as well to it, which is, I don't know what that building is. That's strange, actually. Not seen that before. There's a tree that I just passed that the branches are really bending and curving and twisting and interlocking in a really ornate way. It looks like an old engraving, etching, or illustration out of an old fantasy book. I can see a church spire in the distance, and there's some more sheep, including some brown sheep, a dark brown sheep, which is that a thing? I thought it was just white sheep or black sheep. I don't know. And there's more fences with barbed wire again. What are they keeping out? There's so many ways around them out here, and there's nothing to protect. More bushes flowering in white, white flowers and buds and blooming. A jogger is crossing the bridge up ahead. Looks like they might be on the phone. Giant empty barn with the doors missing and windows missing. Nothing inside it. Tall, big, old house. They're made of stone. It looks enclosed and hidden away. It's not how I imagine the House of Leaves to look, although I haven't read enough of that to say whether that's true or not yet. I need to read more of that when I get back to Plymouth. Really very big tree with a giant span there. Looks like a brain shaped almost, and there's cows, some black cows and a couple white cows to the left, couple brown cows, couple sheep on the right. More cows on the left. A really farm heavy area. More pylons and connecting wires, and everything is flattened out now. There's no more hills. It's just flat stretch everywhere. I'm going about 73. My petrol tank appears to be full. It's 14.5 degrees. I'm in 5th gear. Just a little update. I'm feeling a lot better. I think there's lots of chopped down trees and Jenga stacks of logs and big greenhouses, empty greenhouses. White metal structure with glass. The van behind me is really closed up behind, but they could overtake if they wanted. I don't know what they're doing. There's some gates in this field, but they're not connected to fences. They're just gates connecting nothing. So I don't perhaps, there used to be fences, but they've worn away. Just gonna have some more water again. The sky is there, some thicker clouds, patches of thicker clouds, but mostly it's very thin clouds. There's some soft overlapping gradients going from dark to light, then back to dark, then back to light again, then back to dark, and then patches of fluffy darker clouds. It's somewhere between blue and grey, and then yellow and grey, and it's lighting all of the surrounding fields with quite grey light again, grey, green, stronger green perhaps than it has been before. Though especially on the right, actually, it's almost a bluish green, a wet green, I would say. And I can see in the field on the left some little flowers and some daffodils I saw there, and a rusting metal container with some wood in it. White farmhouse over there with a tiled roof. Really not a fan of the van behind me. It's behaving really rude. Okay, they've pulled away now, but now they're just in a slower lane. I don't know what the deal is. They're looks like all the cars are slowing down, perhaps. We're hitting a patch of traffic. I'm not sure. A lot of sheep on the left again. I can see the sun now in my peripheral vision on the right. So the sun is definitely on its way down. It's not too far down though. Lots of houses on the right and a few trees, a more residential area there, a couple of bridges coming up ahead with lots of cars on them, and I just overtook an Argos lorry, and coming up there's a lorry with a big tank, a cylindrical tank on the back. White cars overtaken me, 2 black cars, a blue car behind me, a white, a green car, a black car, a grey car, a white lorry, blue, red, black, silver, grey, silver, white, silver, red, grey. The green car behind me is coming up close. There's some big farm buildings with piles of chopped wood and rubble and rocks, and signs for more services on the left. And in a few miles, I'm doing okay though. I don't know if I need a break yet. I think maybe I was just hungry. I had a snack and stuff, and I think that might have done the trick. I don't know. The cars have the traffic has thinned out again. People were just coming off on that junction. Can get up to quite a high speed here. There's not many cars around anymore. There's a black van coming up behind though, quite fast. And on the right, actually, I just saw a stripy car, which you don't see often. There's a red brick church on the right, reminds me of the churches that they built and colonized in like New England in America in the 1800s, that kind of architecture that exists in America that's like very rapid, and a few cream orangey colored office warehouse buildings to the left there, and now some more hills going down again into like a valley with hills all around it. Looks like hills with a brown orange patches of grass and bushes, autumnal looking, wintry. Spring hasn't reached this area yet. I've just pulled into the left lane. Really empty roads, really empty roads. The crest of that hill to the left looks like, if it was a lot thinner, it would look like a tooth. It reminds me of the Golden Fang building in Inherent Vice. Saw a big white bird circling above, maybe a seagull, I don't know. Some yellow trees and a yellow field with some birds sitting in it. A flock of birds sitting in that field. Sign says that I'm now entering Somerset. The sky is even less patchy and more continual gradients with some stripes of darkness and matching the direction, and lines of the wires overhead there. Just past on the right was a lorry holding chickens, I believe, which always makes me feel really sad. And just there to the left were a few disused, abandoned, run-down buildings made of wood. Looked like they were falling apart, maybe part of an old farm. Some more bridges crossing over here, and the sign says the River Axe, which I'm just passing on my left, the van that has a crane attached to the back. Maybe not attached, maybe it's carrying it. I'll be interested to see how away Exeter is on the next sign when I see that. The way the fences move and change in your peripheral vision and in front of your eyesight when you're on the road is like a zoetrope, where slow moving you see the individual lines and sections, but then moving fast it blurs into one and the image behind becomes the focus. When things move so quickly that you only notice what's behind them, and when they're slower they cover up and become opaque. And I think that's a really interesting phenomenon. I don't know if there's any, must just be to do with the frame rate of the human eyesight, because I know that when you video fences moving like that, they look almost like they're moving backwards and at different speeds and stuff because of the frame rate of the image. And in fact, the fences moving is almost like a film stock moving through a camera, with each partition being like a frame. The field on my left is freshly plowed and has puddles, big puddles of water sitting in it, very flat, flooded. To my right, a farm building has a flag flying. I don't know what the flag is, though I can't make it out from here. Oh no, it's a Union Jack. Did I talk about flags earlier? I think I did. It's been a while though. Looking forward to driving past the beach seaside sections where all the boats and stuff are, past Exeter along the coast of Devon. But there is really nice, really big hill to my right now, and a trailer to my left, like a wagon to my left in a field just on its own in the middle of a field. Like there's a lorry here carrying logs, and they look like they have been sanded down and chopped and perhaps varnished. They all have the same color to them. Looks a bit shiny, as if they'd been varnished. My throat is starting to hurt again, but I'm not panicking. I feel like I'm becoming much more lucid, actually. No, the opposite of lucid. Exeter is only is 49 miles away, apparently. The opposite of lucid, because lucid is when you're aware of something. I think awareness and becoming more like fluid, and less lucid. Perhaps there's a lot of sheep and sheep dotted around the field. On the field there, 49 miles is a lot longer than I thought there for Exeter, but I'm doing okay. I'm just going to check to see if it's still recording. Yeah, I've been going for 50 minutes, it seems. I really have no idea if I'll be able to hear any of what I'm saying right now. If I shout, does it appear? Yeah, it does appear a lot louder. I probably will be. Okay, then wow, the fog in the distance and the low hanging clouds making that hill range in the distance basically white against the sky, and some yellow light is coming through cracks now, and the sky is kind of separate from thickness of a cloud in a zigzag shape, and a golden yellow through above those wires and houses and trees. I think that the times I stop, I'll have like a service station divider, colored pages perhaps, which says like service station break or something, and make it a real kind of event. Like it feels like, for me, really beautiful sky over to the right, and I've done my best, I suppose. It's not changed, it's just passing another river now. There's a lot of bodies of water that I don't really notice before. Lots of patches of dead grass in that field over there. Big clumpy patches of ground, and orange and sepia tones and pale brown, and oh look, there's more solar panels there behind a fence, past that field, and sheep on the right, gates, and an orange recovery van to the left, and a pale duck egg blue cream colored car, but it's an old car, it's not a new car. Then there was a strange purple blue color car, a faded blue gray car, a bright blue, a fading black, covered in mud, a muddy white car, a muddy silver car. Then there's that clean, shiny green car that was up behind me earlier. I recognize that one. And there's some horses wearing coats over there to the left, and some birds flying to the right, and a big, what looked like a well to the left. I don't know if that was a well. It would be cool if that was a well, though. My throat is really sore now, really hurting the roof of my mouth as well. And a coach crossing the bridge up ahead, and I could see the silhouettes of all the profiles of the people inside it because of the way the light was falling. That was really weird. I could see each individual person, and there was another river there, just there with reeds and a brown grass growing on the banks, and a giant massive Morrison's warehouses to my right with loads of vans and lorries all outside, and there looks like they're building more warehouses. I can see more framework over there. There's some lorries without trailers, just the cabs, some with cabs, and then that's opposite sheep, and there's an orange windsock on top of the Morrison's warehouse, and that seems weird to me. Why would they need to know about the wind? Is it for the oh look, there's that weird wicker statue of like a strange looking figure walking, and it's like it's trying to be the angel of the north, but it's really not. Yeah, I'm very surprised at how empty this road is still. Still not many cars on it. A warehouse there to the left that's mostly black with red structure lines on the edges and corners. Just absolutely no cars at all. I'm going about 80 now comfortably, and so are all the cars around me. It seems there's some cows in that field. One of them sitting down, but not for rain, I don't think. I think just for chill. There's a bunch over there. There's brown, black, and white cows with black spots, and another ploughed field with water resting in ditches and puddles, all flooded, and trees, thick trunked trees with dark grey, dark green leaves growing on it, and more greenhouses to my right with domed domed plastic roofs, and then also triangular glass roofs and shipping containers and solar panels. Sign up ahead, pointing off to a place called Minehead, which is funny to me, coming up over a bridge now with the levels of the wires and the pylons. Could look down just then into, there's a river, obviously what the bridge is crossing, and there's houses with conservatories, big warehouses and buildings with connecting pipes and tubes. I think they're for Argos, and there's a B&B down on the left, and a yellow building with a brown roof, and they've painted white on the roof saying B&B 24-hour. Must be just be a home business. I mean, obviously it's a B&B. What am I talking about? But the looks almost like an airplane landing strip or something. The way they've painted on the roof. There was a dead badger just there at the side of the road. It always strikes me with badgers how big they are and how muddy they always are. I don't know if it's just the way they get when they get killed, but you imagine a badger to be black and white, but they're always like black and yellow, like yellow, brown, dirty fur. I suppose like my dog gets when she's all like grimy, she gets all yellowy brown, so I guess it makes sense. I suppose they do like don't get cleaned or anything, just live outside. It was safely at the side of the road though, so it wasn't going to get continually hit, which is nice. Always feel really bad. Obviously it's bad with whatever happens when an animal dies. I always feel worse when they get hit again and again when they're already dead. And there's a services coming up in 10 miles, and I don't know whether or not to go. I could do with a break. I think maybe just a rest. I don't know if that's good idea for time though. I think probably it is. It doesn't take that long from Exeter, so maybe the best thing to do. I can't remember how far away Exeter was. 30 miles maybe? I should wait till I get a bit close to Exeter. I mean, that's definitely a farmhouse. Oh wow, that field on the left was like very red, red soil, an orange red soil, very fertile. I imagine. I don't know. More graffiti under that bridge again. How I'm repeating myself a lot, but I feel that's almost the way of these things, and part of the point of this is to document how often these things happen. Okay, coming up on the left is another field with what looks like white soil. I don't know what that is. Is it plastic sheeting? Yeah, oh, okay, it was. It's black plastic sheeting reflecting the light, covering up the seeds, I imagine, to stop birds eating it. There was another dead badger. I really got a good look at that one. That was sad. I guess they live around here, eating the crops and shit. I don't know what badgers eat really. There's some more solar panels in that field. More fields. Another bridge, more fields fading into white, with the distance and the clouds there, with more white, brown, green, pale colors. Leaves a lot more leaves coming in on these trees around here, I'm noticing, but still a lot of trees without leaves, as well as still haven't escaped winter yet. There's another red-orange soil field, perhaps maybe it's a type of soil that they sprinkle or fertilizer or something, I don't know. There's a car with a horse box just coming up here on the left. I can't tell if there's a horse inside or not though. There was no window at the back. Sun is really breaking through the clouds on the right. The area of clouds around it is so bright and so white that it really stands out amongst the other grey. And there's a patch of daffodils there on the left, and more concrete overhead on the overhead bridge, more power boxes to the side with little steps going up to them for the motorway workers to access, ramps and fences with ivy growing over and barbed wire, I guess. That's to keep animals out. I understand that one. Yellow temporary sign, blue sign, brown sign with tourist destinations, old brick houses with crooked roofs next to new sports club houses, an old stone church, crossing another river here. More greenhouses on the left, more these ones are glass with triangular roofs again. not like the curved plastic ones, a strange, what must be a wind turbine, but not a traditional wind turbine looking one that spirals round like, looks like ribbons circling around a post. Maybe it's not a wind turbine, maybe it's a wind speed measure or something like that. I'm not sure. There's only one of it, whatever it is, and another dead badger, again with a really large patch of blood smeared. There was a dead bird, I think, or a rat or something. Okay, and another one. There's a lot of dead animals here. Really big patch of blood and some crows pecking at it, pecking at the ground around it. A field of yellow coming up on the left, and a field with old wooden fences protecting a small area of trees, and some hay bales wrapped in black plastic. Yeah, more yellow flowers on the left, probably rapeseed again, I think. There was something attached to a fence up there on that bridge, and I couldn't tell what it was. Perhaps missing clothes attached with locks to the fence for no other reason than there's nothing else to do with it. I'm not sure. The van in front of me is producing a lot of emissions, like the dark grey smoggy bullshit coming out of its exhaust. So I'm like keeping my distance a bit. I don't want to. Yeah, I'm gonna try and overtake it, but I don't want to be inhaling all that. It is, I think, it is to do with when it's going wrong. When it does that, that's not sort of normal. Yeah, it's really producing a lot. I should get that checked out. There's more fields with yellow flowers on the right, more trees on the left. A weird. Oh wait, no, that was just part of a lorry with a big pole sticking out of the top of it, cream color, fabric-backed trailer here for feeding tomorrow's farmers today. It says, that's a very specific slogan. Going down a hill now towards a curve, and a big curved bridge coming up overhead, and a tree over there to the right, with very spherical bird nests or patches of leaves or something. Looks like something in straight out of a Dr. Seuss book or something. There's a digger in this field up ahead for this farm, and massive machine, combine harvester looking machine there. Taunton services coming up here and driving right into the path of the sun right now. The sky is all black. No, not black, grey. It's all grey. It's all one colour of grey, apart from the patch of clouds around by the sun, which are more pale white and yellow, but it's getting greyer and greyer. I think the music for 18 musicians just ended, and we're on to the next piece, which means I've been going for about an hour on this run. I know I will stop at Exeter. I won't stop before, I've decided. Really big building to the right, big kind of manor house looking building. I wonder if it's maybe converted to be a. I know in Norfolk there was a big manor house converted to become a mental hospital. Lots of sheep again on the left. I'm starting to feel a bit weird again, a bit kind of queasy, and my throat is very, very sore. So I'm hoping that I come up to Exeter soon. I can't be too far. I've been making good time. I don't really know what to say anymore. I'm finding it difficult, finding it really difficult. It just all looks the same. It all looks the same, so I can't describe that. And I'm feeling just tired, and I've got so into this that I'm used to it now. I just looked to myself in the mirror, and I can see my mouth moving as I'm talking. And that is actually really weird. I just smiled as I said that, and I really, really hate my new hair, man. This sucks. I wish I'd kept it long. I'm gonna grow it out, definitely. Oh my god, Exeter is 25 miles away. That is still a long way. It feels like this is a long trip, isn't it? Feels almost like I'm talking to somebody. I guess I'm talking to you, the future reader of this thing. Oh look, there was a sheep lying down, looking really chill. Oh, and there was a little baby sheep, and it also looked like an Arctic fox. That was a very weird. Services are 23 miles. That's where I'll take my next break. Excellent. Lots of telegraph poles there connecting up wires above those farmhouse buildings, barns, I think, and small barns. Lots of plastic bags all in one tree over there, maybe they couldn't stick other ones, but then gravitated towards one tree there. If the theory of gravity is that all objects connect and attract to each other. I've always wondered if similar objects attracted similar objects. I don't know if, because I know that there is a scientific example, the explanation, sorry, for water tension, but I've always wondered if that was maybe a side effect of gravity. Just lots of farm buildings around here. It seems, yeah, lots and lots on both sides. Both sides, there's just farms and sheep, more sheep, really empty road. It's that kind of grey color. That's almost pinky grey road. You can see the markings where the tires go, and where most people drive, I guess, and worn down. There were some elm trees there with like white, grey, black bark patches. I just passed a black van on my left. There was a tire and some purple blue flowers on the centre bank to the right. Oh, look here, I'm coming up to Devon now. Sign coming up to Devon. Big like weird green post with some panels at the top of it there. Don't know what that is. It's getting darker. The sky is getting more grey. There are no birds. Not really much around at all. Fewer pylons than before. More bushes with yellow-orange flowers on them. I'll have a look at what those bushes are later, and no leaves at all on any of these leaves, on any of these trees apart from that one. It's all brown, so brown that it's blocking out the green from the fields behind the trees. There's two birds now flying overhead, black birds, or I don't know what kind of birds, but they are black. That's what I mean. Fields are gently divided around here, so not harshly divided with strict hedge lines and fences, more flowing as one, at least on the left. On the right, they're still connected up and also differentiated in slight shades of green and yellows and browns. A dirt track there going up a hill to the left with some open metal gates and little yellow white poles with blue and red tape. An overhead electrical sign that is dull and empty, more yellow flowers, and another dead badger on the left. Seen a lot of those recently. I'm feeling much more relaxed about this and less freaked out. I am going to be embarrassed looking back, I think, but that was so weird. That was so weird. What a weird thing to happen. It must have been the coffee that I just like spun me out. I am nervous about arriving back in Plymouth. Oh look, there's a train coming out to the right, a passenger train, not a cargo train, a blue one. I'm worried about being back in Plymouth. I'm worried about being alone again and like fending for myself again. I really miss the comforts of home, and the comforts of home have been really nice and refreshing and recharging, but not enough that I feel like I'm back at 100%. I feel like I'm at 50 or 40, even 60. I don't know, but I don't feel ready to be in that environment again, to be back on my own. And there's too much happening at the moment, and I just don't want to do it sometimes. I don't know. The grass in the middle parting here has white flowers that it looks almost like dewdrops or snow or frost, the way it looks in the distance. And as it's getting closer, it's 12.5 degrees now, so it's getting a bit colder, but it's still not too cold. And I'm actually quite nice temperature in here now. When the sun was shining in, it was really getting really hot, sweaty. There's a massive two giant domes over to the right with a white dome. I don't know what they are. Maybe I know that those dome type buildings are often used for spy surveillance, espionage stuff. There's one like that in Norfolk. Maybe that's what that is. I don't know. Always made me think of like observatories and stuff like that. Maybe I should handwrite this out. That might be really nice, actually. Or I have been looking at trying to make a font of my handwriting, and I know that you can do that. I'll have to try out different fonts and stuff and see what works best. It might feel nice for the if I'm having a picture of the waveform of the audio to contrast that with the kind of humanness of speech by using handwritten text or typewriter text, or I could type it out on a typewriter, or there's a chimney stack over there to the left and some sheep again, and people seem to be switching their headlights on now, but it's not that dark. This is presuming that I can hear everything anyway. I think someone ahead just flipped me off. Well, they pulled out in front of me, so I don't know what they want me to do. Silver car, not even, I don't know. They were just being a bit like, I just flashed my light. I just thought that was the right thing to do. I don't know. The roads are really curving around now. Lots of hills again, trees, green trees. The ivy around the trees is green, making the trunk look green. There was a load of tape or something stuck up in that tree, and it smells suddenly like manure. And that bridge was made of bricks. And yeah, it smells a lot like manure. All of a sudden, hopefully must be from the farms. I just don't know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say. I just want a break again. More hay bales wrapped in black and green plastic this time. Looks like everyone's slowing right down up there. More traffic around, but still not still. Not much like I really thought there'd be a lot more. I can't believe I've gone through Bristol without slowing to a stop, really. For fortunate police-only section there, a road going off to the left, little secret Disneyland passageways around for the police to, like, you know, the motorway police or whatever, some tree over there with orange autumn leaves that are like looking like dry, crisping up. I wonder if it got tricked by all that snow recently. To think it was coming up to, oh look, there's a go-kart track on the left. No, quad bike track, Quad World. I wonder when I'll be passing that aviation museum. I know there's one of those nearby as well. Can't wait to get into bed after a drive, have a brownie. There's a tree with leaves on the top right, tip top of a hill over there. That looks really picturesque, like that tree in Shawshank Redemption, if I'm remembering right. I haven't seen that film in a while, but just one of this kind of trees on a hill that doesn't really exist, that's only in pictures of films or something. I might be catching up with the flip-off car. I don't know. I don't want them to think I'm angry, but they're going faster than me, so I don't think I will catch up. There was a white Renault car there that had its name, and it's kind of spun me out again, but I'm not going to fall back into that thing again. I hope it is getting darker again. The sun is really thick behind clouds now, and the whole surroundings are getting darker. There's a lone horse in that field over there wearing a coat, dark brown horse, just like chilling, eating grass, but it's completely on its own. And I don't know, it's just like how I feel right now as well, I guess. There's more pylons and stuff in the distance, big ones, telegraph poles, thick wires, overhead fences with ivy on more orange yellow bushes, more paths, hills, tiredness can kill, take a break, an empty temp, either abandoned or blown out barn with rusting support beams and no walls or roof, just the beams. I don't know why there are so many of those barns abandoned, so many areas abandoned, so many buildings not lived in. There's a paintball park, to the right that I've never seen before. It looks like it's in an old mine building or something. Perhaps there's two joggers in neon fluorescent shirts running over a bridge ahead. Overhead, there's a sign up here for Exeter Airport. So I'm definitely coming into Exeter, which is good news. There's a slate grey Mini overtaking me on the right. And there's a big new housing development being built on the right, it seems. And a lot of building works being done on the left as well. Like a new looking road covered in dust, in orange-brown dirt and mud, and yellow diggers and new brick houses with skylights and grey roofs and a big blue bridge arching over with a suspending wires, holding it up ahead, and a big modern trapezium-shaped building with giant glass windows. I don't know what that is, but it's some kind of, I don't know what that could be. Oh, might be a part of the airport, but I thought the airport was further away. It could be the airport. Airports do look like that. Sign for the park and ride, sign for a science park, maybe. It's a science park, science research center or something. That makes sense. More modern buildings on the right here. We are coming up to Exeter services. I had to do a tricky maneuver here to pull over in time. I don't know. Oh, fuck. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I'm going to have to overtake and pull across. Okay, that was quite scary. Haha. I managed to do it though. I'm pulling off at the services and I'm going to have another break. I'm not getting a coffee though, absolutely not. I will probably get more carb-based snacks to keep my energy going, haha. Going again. I can't remember what food they have here. Have to get into this lane to go round the roundabout. I wonder if this lane, service station up ahead, there's caravan showroom with lots of caravans for sale, and a sign at the side of the road here looks really old for a circus perhaps. And an orange brick buildings with orange roofs, and there are some bikers and a bridge to my right. It's weird being stationary again and describing from stop. Flattened cans, weeds, specks of stones and plastic and mud and gravel and sticks and red lights turning amber, turning green. Green lights again. I'm going under the bridge now. I'm pulling over here to the difficult roundabout. That's S-Ton stands for service station, it seems. Yeah, so I'm going forward up here and then turning right and around this roundabout. This is a difficult one. I remember this roundabout being tricky from the other times I've stopped here, but at least it's not too busy and I'm managing to get around it with ease. Go right here, right round to the station, to the services. Could really go for a beer when I get home. Nearly crashed just then. Someone was really coming up behind me without looking. Exeter services are really big, all down a hill. It's really empty. There's really no one traveling on the roads at the moment, which is nice. Means I can park right down close to it. It's weird. I would have expected more people to not have to walk all the way down and up the hill. There's a family there wearing pajamas. They must have been driving for a while, or maybe they've only started, but they're going to be driving for a while. Okay, I've parked and I'm stopping the recording again. And I'm off again. This is the last stretch now, so thank goodness I can't remember exactly how to get out of here. Oh, okay. I have to go this way. I'm estimating around an hour more it'll take, which isn't too bad, as long as I don't get lost, which is quite possible. This is the only part of the journey I'm not convinced I know the way about, so we'll see how that goes. I've restarted music for 18 musicians because I want another reliable timekeeping piece of music that I know relatively well. The roads now are quite, it's still very empty around here, and no, I'm not going north. Oh my God, what do I do? Oh, I see, okay, going south. Yeah, okay, I'm waiting at a red light. I can see a Toys R Us behind some bushes. I expect it's closed down now and empty if they've had a clearance sale and stuff, which I know they did around where I live in Luton. This is a common theme, even without me trying. It's just abandoned, worn down, old, decrepit, dusty, dirty, filled with rubbish old buildings being consumed again by nature. And I'm not even trying to get this in here. This is just what I'm noticing around. And I think that is so amazing. And I'm feeling happy about that. And I'm feeling happy about this. Now I've gotten over my initial fear. Haha, A38, okay. There's a sign up there that says Plymouth on it. So that's a good sign. That wasn't an intentional pun. So I'm slowly trickling around these corners and these traffic lights with these other cars, and around this nightmare roundabout situation, I can see all the caravans again. I could see earlier I'm following around the same area. Oh, Mr. Green Light, I'm gonna have to wait. People behind me look annoyed. That's okay though. There's a big flag flapping advertising the caravans behind the pine trees. I'm on the other side of the road from where I was before. When I was describing the detail of the ground, I can see polystyrene like burger, like food takeaway box, and some daisies that are about to bloom. They're really very close. The tips of their petals are pink, like they get when they're just about to pop. I'm coming off onto the M5 now, again, going up a short little road onto the main road. It's thick with trees, motorway is almost empty as it was before. I really don't know why, haha, but I'm not complaining. There's a weird feeling of, I don't know, there's a weird feeling in the air, a feeling of a kind of collective sadness or collective angst or anxiety. I don't know why, I just feel this about the way all the cars are, not the cars around me, but like the people at the service stations. There's no camaraderie, there's no feeling of like we're all in this together, or if there is that feeling, it's a feeling of we're all in this together because we have to be, or because something bad is going to happen. There should be more people out, and it's a little unsettling. It's getting colder. It's 12 degrees sky, the sun is much lower. You can see the patch of sunlight through the clouds is much lower. It's got an orange tint to it rather than just yellow or white suggesting sunset. I think apart from that, the sky is just grey. This road is very dusty, and there's cones with reflective lights on them. I'm going to turn my lights, my side lights on, because it's getting quite dark now. There's just so many leafless trees, and then a few deep green evergreen trees breaking up the ground, but not adding any brightness, just enhancing the darkness of the density of the foliage and stuff. There's a post over to the right with a red light on it. I don't know what that's for, attached to some kind of building. The road just divided, and I'm now on the road towards the A38. Or am I on the A38 now? I'm not sure, but I'm heading towards Plymouth, so I think actually it's going to be okay. I probably am going to find my way. There's a field coming up here on the right with white and black sheep, and very light green, brown grass, very sporadic grass. It doesn't look like grass that sheep should be eating. That doesn't look like enough grass at all for them. The sides of these banks are getting a lot steeper and taller, and the rocks are brown, red-brown, mud, dirt on the side. They look almost like bricks that have been placed by humans, or at least the humans have helped shape the mounds so that the road can fit nicely in it. I wouldn't be surprised again on the right. They're either erosion lines or lines from human interference. There's a ditch going down to the left now. There's a sign saying that Plymouth is 40 miles away, so I don't have very long left. There's a flag to the right. There's buildings behind a red dirt mound on the left, and bushes and a steep hill with thin individuals sticking up light brown sticks poking out of the ground, and a dark green tarp covering up grass and mud on the right from where there must have been a landslide. There's a small plaster, I think, orange elephant with a massive gash in its head that says ice cream parlor on it. Supposedly, I mean, I guess it's to attract kids, but it looked quite horrific to me and very out of proportion. There's a petrol station coming up on the left. I'm recognizing all of this a lot now. We're definitely getting quite close. Like, I know how far away we are, but I'm recognizing this as feeling close enough to be noteworthy. The road is splitting up ahead again, and there's a sign for a hotel. It looks like an American motel, roadside hotel, very flat one-story, with a kind of big kind of sign outside, tall sign, and a courtyard area. But I've passed that now. And I'm going right into this, continuing onto the A38 towards Plymouth. It's curving up and in and around and up this hill, and the car is passing me on the right. No, on the left, sorry, and I'm not going up the hill, actually. I'm curving round and getting deeper into the tree area. There's an SOS phone sign a quarter of a mile away, it says. I can actually see the phone from here, yeah, coming up, and this bridge looks old, but there's a crack down the center of it. It's quite frightening, but I've just gone underneath it. A sign so dirty and covered in like mildew that it's barely legible said Devon Expressway. I guess that's what I'm driving now. There's some cones that have been tipped up there. There's a collapsed sign. There's fallen trees and big banks with cream light stone and fine dirt. There's the sky is almost completely monochrome black and white now, very pale grey. There's more metal barriers, and there's shipping containers. Says emergency sign store on it to the left. There's a race course, Exeter race course. I've never seen that before. I don't know why I'm not. I feel as though I've missed a few things that I'm used to seeing on the left. Here is Haldon Forest Diner, and it's a little building that has tempted me so much every time I've driven past. It looks like something out of Twin Peaks. I just saw a dead badger, and it looks like very American or like Swiss in its design, like a little lodge. I imagine there being a kind of greasy buffet inside, or like a little, not American at all, actually, very European or rural American, not American diner, but in just looks really interesting to me. I'm going down now in a more narrow dual carriageway. There's a collapsed fence with red and white tape strewn across the ground and trees thick on each side, and now it's opening up into a field on the left. We're bending left around the corner now, and I can see hills in the distance, silhouetted now by the fading light and the fog, turning the hills into just outlines and shapes and colors. No detail in them at all, and we're curving round still, more deeper into this forest, and there's a petrol station now on the left with a sign to Chudley, and a big warehouse with dirt mounds against it and poles and wires, the sign for steam train trips and boat trips. And we're curving round to the right now, coming back round onto another wider dual carriageway section with bridges ahead, and the opposite direction traffic to the right, divided by grass in the middle. The bridge looked to be constructed with a kind of a stone stuck together, not just concrete like the others. It feels as though we're getting more rural. I can see that the contrast in the clouds, and the sky is fading even more. And there's a yellow patch from where a grey cloud must have been covering the sun, nearby, and there's some gravel to the left, separating the grass from the roads, and the grass leads onto a dirt path, which goes up to a hill. There's a sign of a red sign with a blue sign with a red X on it, and another concrete bridge overhead, a parking sign, lots of houses to the left now, big residential area, all the same color, all a kind of pale cream with a dark brown grey roof. All of the houses look like there's loads of them, hundreds of hills and grass, much less farmland, much more recreational space, it seems like, for the houses nearby. The sign ahead is telling me that we're going to be curving round again, and I think I just saw a sewage tank to the left down in the ditch. There's a few cars around me, but not too many. Again, the sign is telling me that Plymouth is ahead, so that's good. Comforting knowledge, stretching out onto a wider road again, not going round a curve so much anymore. Standard brown hills, brown trees, everything is darker, everything is paler, everything is less saturated. There's a taxi behind me with a traditional taxi light on the top of its roof, and it's just overtaken and slowing down for the car in front. There's a big sheet of plastic on the side of the road there, wrapped up around the base of the tree, thin tree. That phone SOS sign is split into half, and half is on the floor and half is on the pole. There's a lorry ahead that's driving slowly. I'll have to overtake it, but there's some cars on my right. They're passing right now. I'll go in front of that blue car that just passed, had a blue monkey hanging in the window, like stuck with little sticky suction cups to the hand to the window. There's a really beautiful chalky blue house to the right there, amongst the other cream and white boring houses. These roads are really curving a lot, and I can see now up around this corner a giant kiln, a big ceramic tile factory towering above the landscape at the bottom of this hill, churning steam or smoke into the air. I think it's steam. It's very white, blending in with the clouds above. Small stone walls to the right with a pink house behind it. Orange flowers to the left, a big metal bridge overhead. Furthermore, like more hills and ditches and pylons. I'm passing past the British ceramic tile factory now. It's corrugated metal and just giant and cuboid, only one shape. And to the left, there's loads of caravans, must be for sale. To the right, a pink house with blue. To the left, a giant stone gateway with metal gates and pillars, stone pillars. There's a stone top to the gateway part. More pylons ahead, and another bridge, metal walking bridge next to a concrete driving bridge. Again, more pylons down to the left there. Wires just grazing the top of the trees, bunching and hiding what looks like the buildings in the woods. I can't entirely see. Plymouth is 29 miles away now, really getting close. There's a little green bin and it's completely full, and there's a car parked to the side, another bin that isn't as full. There's a car park on the right, and oh, there's Trago on the left. Big castle, white castle looking building with turrets and walls around. That is such a weird place, just the weirdest place. I really want to go. I think it would be an amazing place to explore. I've only heard from what has talked about, really, but it seems really cool to me. There's a little fence here protecting nothing. Maybe perhaps protecting a little square ditch. I'm not sure. All of the landscapes really are so similar. There's not much to differentiate between this landscape and the other landscapes. I've been driving. Really weird. There's a car in front of a red car with some kind of fabric or lino wrapped up and tied to the roof, tied to the ladder. A couple driving it. I don't know, and a little van in front of another, half of a phone sign again with the top half has fallen off, and it must be a problem with the design. I can see a church tower ahead, behind trees, more caravans, and a wooden slatted white wood painted slatted house on the left. A yellow truck with weird blue some kind of blue lighting design on the inside of the cabin, and a really tall hill coming up in front of me. I can see where the sun is now. It's really covered up behind clouds, and there's just the faintest patch of light where it must be. Down to the left are more houses I can see with lots of skylights and old kind of traditional wood walls, it seems. I'm going up a hill now. The center parting separating the two roads has white flowers in it again, looking again like little patches of snow or frost or dew. And on the other side, there's bigger white flowers, fully bloomed, and there's bigger flowers again in the center that have come out. A pink house connected to a greenhouse connected to a cream house on the right, creamy yellow. A sign for a garage, Mead Garage, which is very fantasy again. I love that kind of thing, and a formation of birds flying overhead and a corrugated roof to the left and more signs to the left pointing to a caravan parks. There was a rusting gate between two hedges. Couldn't see at all where it was leading. Perhaps a farmhouse. There was some kind of dark brown sheep just there. So some farm vehicles. So I think probably it was a farmhouse, but it looked like it hadn't been opened in years or something. Sign up ahead says Two Bridges, Princetown. Going down a hill now. It's in areas becoming more hilly, and to the right there's just hundreds and hundreds of houses all packed together behind the trees. Now can't see them anymore, but bridge overhead, lorries to the left, behind a metal barred fence, some kind of industrial area, some lorry storage area or something there. I don't guess, no, not sure. Sign up ahead saying motel services. Car just slipped there as I went over that hill. I don't know quite sure what happened. Roads curving again round to the right, and still not many cars. A very small orange car in front of that convertible with the roof down, black car that's just passed in front of the guy's hair, if blowing in the breeze as he's driving, and the orange car has just passed on the left. It's completely fogged up on the windows, condensation. Must not have a good air system inside. Looks very old. In front, there's a big lorry with a tank of something on the back, possibly a cement mixer, but it's not rolling, so I'm not sure. Looks like we're coming up to Buckfastleigh, and Totnes is on the sign in Dartmouth. Hopefully not driving on the road that the Hairy Hands are from. I did my project when I applied to do illustration at Plymouth. I did a small project about the hairy hands that I worked on, that they never actually looked at because I had other work. It's a cool story about the hands that need spectral hairy hands that appear and careen cars off course and make them crash. There's a spire of a church at the top of the hill surrounded by trees just there. There's flickering lights coming from behind trees just come through my back window. I don't know what that was about. That was weird. There's no cars around, so it's quite spooky. There's a purple house and a pink house and all these other houses on this hill here. Plymouth is 22 miles now, according to the sign. I'm really looking forward to being able to not talk and to be able to listen to people. When I finish this, I feel like the final stretch now. How many times can you talk about fucking trees, hills, and fields, for fuck's sake? It's just so repetitive. There's just more and more and more again and again, and lampposts and fences and barriers and diggers and buses. There's a load of coaches and shipping containers down to the left. Why is it all the same collection of things, just in different frequencies? There's a green house with a conservatory and a sign going down there. But it's all the same objects again and again, just in different quantities and different variations and combinations again and again. They're in Yeah, sure, there is something interesting in that, but I'm bored out of my mind. Oh, there's a beautiful tree just there with loads of blossom all over it. Pale pink white blossom on that tree, really nice. Now, dirt, mounds of dirt and a stone wall and warehouses, an empty road on the right, and fences and a sheet of plastic wrapped around a bush, and more fences and another phone sign. More hills, very plain hills, these ones, not much detail on them at all, just one solid green block carving around the horizon, up and down ridgebacks, like dolphin motion, church with an English flapping and a bridge. I wonder if anyone goes to that church. It's quite in the middle of nowhere. It looks well used though. There's houses around here I don't know, and two houses shielded by hedges and gates that I can't have a look into. I need to be careful. I keep drifting. Big car just overtook me. Need to go down a gear. I'm going up the hill. A sign that might have said something once that's been painted over white, so it's just a flat shape on a stick. There's some sheep silhouetted perfectly on top of a hill, and as I'm driving past, they're kind of rotating and parallaxing around like a spinning record or a music box or a roundabout, and they're all standing completely still, like little constellations speckled on the top of the hill I've seen from one dimension, and they've passed now, and the landscape is just one color. It's just brown. It's just brown and green and yellow. Not much yellow, browny yellow, dirty brown color going down a hill, all the way, quite a steep hill going all the way down. There's a little farmhouse building, farmhouse barn building with a door lopsided that's like fallen off its hinges. Sign coming up ahead for Plymouth again. Plymouth up ahead. There's a pylon being slowly revealed by this bridge as I come closer, and headlights flickering between fence posts and endless stretches of roads. Still 17 miles from Plymouth. Is now 17 miles to go. 17 miles. 17 miles, not long. Caravans on the left again, not long to go. More little flowers blooming up between the rubbish at the side of the road here, and more animals, sheep. Oh shit, I drifted all the way into the middle of the road. Back now, horses now on the side of a very steep hill. Mountain horses, a white one with big fluffy flares on its legs, flared feet, flared legs, flary horse, yeah. Coming up and down a hill again, there's a tyre at the side of the road there, empty tyre though, no hubcap or anything. I wonder how that even got there. Maybe it fell off the back of a lorry or something. Another Royal Mail lorry coming in the opposite direction, big hills in the distance, big hills, park and ride for Plymouth, follow the signs in 1 mile. We're really coming up close now. Sheep on the left again in the field. I'm really excited to get to arrive. All nerves about coming back home are actually, they're not gone. They're not, I was going to say they've been eclipsed by my excitement about stopping talking, but that's not going to happen, I don't think. I am still a bit weirded out about going back. Really, don't know why. I think this is a good piece. I hope so. Weird to think that someone might be reading what I'm saying right now in the future if I can follow through, which I don't see why I wouldn't anymore. I've done this much. Okay, more cars up ahead now, kind of joining with the cars in front, but still not that many, no traffic at all, which I am glad about, but it would have been nice to have been able to describe the traffic jams, but I guess that doesn't, it doesn't really matter. These roads are all the same. These roads are also similar. Is that a good title? These roads are all the same. That's quite a good title. I'll put it in the list. Oh, I just coughed and it fogged up my glasses and I swerved. I think I'll put that in a list of possible titles. At least if I can even remember the others that I've said, maybe when I go back through and listen through, if I find a good sentence, I'll make that the title. Really feel the speed at which I'm going more acutely than I am usually aware of, like really feel like I'm moving, like keeping up this constant flow of speech makes me realize the speed at which I'm moving and the nature of the amount of time it takes to do this drive. So I guess that I am evaluating this piece while I'm doing it, I guess. So I guess I'm passing a dirty white van and the back windscreen wiper has wiped off some of the dirt, but it's not covering up. It's not wiping a window, it's just wiping the back of the white van. That was really weird. I'm passing a big 4x4, grey 4x4 on the left. And my little car pylons are so big when you're right next to them. Like, they are really big. There's a sign up ahead for a garden centre. I think I remember seeing that garden centre on previous drives. I think the aviation centre I mentioned earlier is actually on the road to Norfolk, not on the road here. And I think that, again, kind of like back this idea of roads being the same. Like, when you're on a road, it's the same. There was just a little warehouse down there, bathroom showroom with a bath on the roof, red bath on the roof of the white warehouse, little pole with a CCTV camera on it. More signs, more trees, more grass, more ditches, more hills, more roads, more. There's a skid mark on the road, a long skid mark on the road, maybe from a previous. Oh yeah, here's the garden centre on the left. It's big and domed. It has big doming glass roofs. It's empty. It must be closed for the day. I can't remember what time it is. I'll make a note of what time it is when I get home. To the right, there's quite a fancy looking restaurant called the Hunting Lodge with big gold letters and a stone wall and a white wall with a big silhouette of a horse on it. Big tower in the distance. Real far distance, looks very small on the horizon. Yellow field, little solar panel on a post. A little few farmhouses on the horizon to the left, and some wind turbines and pylons and wires and birds. And there's another big black warehouse with red borders, like I mentioned a while ago. A few hours ago, couple hours ago, I should say. Car is passing me on the right. It's quite a young guy driving with a beard, perhaps, like just graduated age. I find it quite hard to work out that shit, really. Little petrol station to the right, and M1 to M5. No, that's a shit title. There's a little what must have been a flower from the garden centre, like a little plant pot and a flower sideways on the ground and in the middle of the barrier between this road and the opposite direction. Road's very loud on this part, kind of sandpapery rough. It looks like with little patches of replaced smoother road. Really loud though. More fucking dead badgers everywhere. Why are there so many? There's so many dead animals. Like, I can't tell what they are though. They can't be rats because they're quite big, but they're smaller than badgers. I don't know what they could be. I'm coming in closer behind a red car in front, and cone was toppled and lorries. More refugees. More war equals more refugees. Graffiti under that bridge, which I obviously agree with. There's a sign for Plimpton, so I really am close now. And a little pig house and a little goose. There's a little goose, a white goose. A little goose house. I guess it must have been not a pig house on the right, and more dead animals on the left, and signs and fences and hills and posts, and the sun is coming down even lower now in the sky. And deep lane. The sign up ahead says deep lane. Deep lane. There's a car joining the main road here on the left. I feel really embarrassed about my little breakdown during the second leg. That really is strange to me. Haha. It'll be really weird to read over that again. That was like so raw. Oh, for fuck's sake, this car is going so slow and I can't cut across. Okay, I am now. Oh, I accidentally left-footed the brake and really jolted my head there. That was scary, but I am okay now. I'm a bit trepidatious now. Okay, here's the sign saying welcome to Plymouth. It's faded and has a picture of a lighthouse on it. And dropping down to the left is just thousands of houses in the distance. I can see I'll be coming down past like the kind of the water and the sand in the boat soon, I think. That'll be nice to describe. The way the sun and the clouds look right now is almost like the sun reflecting off of the water or off of the surface of the moon, I'm reminded of. And there's all this tattered fabric on this fence to the left. There's no wind though. It's been such a weatherless journey, just grey skies the whole way. I think the way it should be as well, the way it makes most sense, I think, curving up, going up a hill, curving round. I recognise this area. Little plastic tree holders at the little banister for a rail, for a stair set, and a dropping down into another ditch again. I'm taking the next exit, I believe, to go towards the sign that has the ferry on it. I remember this. I know where I'm going now. We're really close, and there's a big hill with a big white asking all the way down. It looks like a dry ski slope. I don't know if it is that. I don't know much about shit really. There's another fucking dead badger. There's so many, and on the left I can see water now here, and a big kind of Sydney Opera House looking Sainsbury's is just there, and a little bridge crossing the water and coming in and down and around all this twisting roadways up on big concrete poles and up and twisting around and all over. And the Sainsbury's is quite empty as well. It just feels, everything feels abandoned right now. Everything feels empty. And I'm coming to a stop at these traffic lights, and I can see really close up grass on my left, and I'm going up again now, and there's reeds on the right. And yeah, we're driving again, following through the signs to the city centre. There's a Premier Inn on the right. I'm not just gonna, and then I'm on the left. They're just passing the Sainsbury's. That's on the left. There's someone cycling on the path to the bus stop on the right. There's a bus stop on the left. There's signs. There's signs everywhere. There's fences. There's fewer trees. There's a speed camera. So I just need to just slow down, getting a bit carried away. There's a big sign, big brown sign with all the tourist attractions listed on it. And to the left, it dips down into the water. I don't know where I got this idea from, that there was boats and sand and shit. There isn't really. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm making stuff up. I need to slow down again. There's people jogging. There's a lot of just water, weird kind of ancient Greek looking arches and stuff on the other side of the water, up a hill. Looks really old. I don't know what that building is. I'm turning off left off this road now, going past. I can see train tracks on the left. There's a petrol station on my right. There's flowers, there's daffodils, there's a cyclist. I'm slowing down to 30 now this is going into a residential area, no longer on the motorway. The water looks quite rough. Should be quite high tide, I think, and lots of textures to the water. Often looks quite smooth. I think I'll stop describing soon because I'm really close now. It's taken, I'm guessing around 4.5 to 5 hours to do the drive, not including the breaks. I'm really tired. There's a flag above a garage on the right, and there's pylons still, and I just hit the curb. But I'm okay. I need to focus. These roads are narrow. They go down to 20. There's lots of houses everywhere. I'm getting emotional again because I'm getting to the end. And I've never thought about a trip like this. There are shops, there's people walking around, I recognize these roads, obviously, I drive them a lot. Legs are aching and my arms feel quite empty. Seeing some Vote Labour signs, there's a bus coming the other direction. I'll be home soon, and then I'll unpack, and I don't know what I'll do after that. I don't know yet, I haven't thought that far ahead. I've got to go to college tomorrow, and I hope that all of this is, again, I'm just repeating myself over and over in this thing. I guess all of this slight variations of wording are different. There's a little trailer filled with rubble there, and a little motorbike and cars parked all along the sides of these roads, and houses and telephone poles and wires and lampposts. And I'm going down a really steep hill now. This is a bitch of an area to drive. All these hills. There's a little park playground area and some steep hills and like banks up to houses and a really old metal bridge with a oh fuck, really, what are you doing slowing down so much? What the fuck, man? I would turning in here, there's a dog taking a shit. Oh no, it was just pissing. It was just pissing on the side, and the pee is running down the path, and there's not many people around, and I'm turning up left here, and I'm really, really close to being home. Someone just pulled out really far in front. This is fucking Plymouth, man. Going up this really steep devil hill, cars on the side, and have to look around these blind corners while on a hill and turning. It's just such a nightmare. Okay, I've made it. I'm up. I'm going up. This is madness. This is madness. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm really almost home now. Hopefully there'll be a nice place to park on the road. I really hope so. I'm not entirely sure there will be though. There's cars everywhere. I think everyone's home from work, so the road will be filled. There's a beautiful tree just past a nice lightly painted wall with pink blossom and ornate metal fences and stuff around, and this little terrace area. And I'm turning right now, almost onto my street. The road before my street on the right is a park. There's cars all parked up everywhere. I'm not going to find anywhere to park. I can tell now. I'm turning right onto my road. Turning onto my road. The road is looking full. Yep, as predicted. There's a space there actually, but I'm just going to keep going a little bit further on and just see if there's anywhere better. Don't fucking think there is though. I fucked this up. Shit, it's really busy. Gonna have to go down and back and around and park up on that area that I pointed out. Hopefully no one's taking it while I'm gone. It's really narrow around this area. All of the houses are pale pastel colors. It is pretty go up here, up this cobble path, bins all along the sides, and I'm hoping that works. I think I can do this. It's really bumpy, very steep. There's bins everywhere. Haha, I'm actually round the back of my house, which is weird. I've never driven down the back before. Can see my house there, okay. And then turning out here, and then hopefully the space will still be there. It is. So I'll just park up here quickly. It's quite tight, but I think I'm all right. Okay, there we are. I've parked, and I've turned the engine off. So I'm gonna stop the recording now. I'm finished. Yeah.